The 600 series had rubber skin. We spotted them easy. But these are new. They look human. Sweat, bad breath, everything. Very hard to spot. I had to wait till he moved on you before I could zero him.
Look, I am not stupid, you know. They cannot make things like that yet.
Not yet. Not for about 40 years.
Are you saying it's from the future?
One possible future. From your point of view, I don't know tech stuff.
Then you're from the future too, is that right?
Right.
Right.
Cyborgs don't feel pain. I do. Don't do that again.
Just let me go.
Listen and understand that Terminator is out there. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves.
You are listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, a cyberpunk media retrospective. High Tech Low Life contains language and themes not suitable for all audiences, as well as spoilers for the content being covered. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the High Tech Low Life podcast, Terminator edition.
Dun 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 dun.
We are here to cover 1984? Four's Terminator, and as you may have just heard, we have a special guest. We're going to introduce him before we introduce ourselves. It's Mr. Sean Faust.
It is me, yes. Can I speak to me, please?
You may.
Oh, hi, guys. Hello. Welcome back to the show. I'm glad you guys could be here.
Thank you.
So all I have to ask you, gentlemen, is what does it matter? Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Wrong show. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be back on this show.
If that show ever does return, I hope we can get an invite.
Yeah. I think I'd only do it with you guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
I finally found sorry, Josh. I finally found a place to put my "What Does It Matter" sticker that I got from you at one point. It's on my tool cabinet in my garage with all my other stickers that I love.
Nice.
And I do get it, Sean. Every time that I have to start an episode for our Patreon feed, I have to physically restrain myself from going, hello and welcome to Creek of the Week. I'm your host, Josh.
Yeah, it gets baked into your brain.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned Creek of the Week because we went to visit my parents yesterday and SVU was on the TV. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at the TV and there's this maybe 5'2" gentleman on the screen. And my parents and Debbie are trying to figure out who the lead actress is in this particular episode. And I look at that guy and I'm like, oh my God. Hon, do you know who that is? She's like, he looks really familiar, but I can't place him. I'm like, that is Clifton motherfucking Smalls.
Oh,
nice.
Pew, pew, pew.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Smalls.
That does remind me, since we're mentioning the creek, R.I.P.
Yeah. Bodie.
Obi Defo.
Yeah. After a very rough, 5 years or so, he had a real rough time and went out far too young at 53 or some nonsense.
Yeah, 5 years ago, he was in a really bad car accident, messed himself up.
Yeah, he got run over by a car at high speed.
Yeah.
And lost his legs, and it's a bad time, but R.I.P. Obi Nadefo.
So, Terminator. we got thoughts. We're going to get to them. I think this week we should skip dystopia talk because Josh and I attended an event recently, which I think we'll take up some time talking about. And
I don't want to hear about it anyway. So
yeah.
No, I mean the event I want to hear about.
Oh, I thought you were like, "Fuck you guys."
No.
All right, go to the bathroom.
You went to hang out. You went to hang out. Wait. What's it called? Oh God, darn it to heck. God,
Sean, you can curse on this. You are allowed to curse.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. All right, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna do it. Ready?
All right.
Damn it.
Oh, okay. Maybe not that. We don't go for
HE double hockey sticks.
Taking the Lord's name in vain in these parts.
Gosh darn it!
We were at Astronomicon in Memphis, Tennessee. We drove down there. It was a good time. We were also very kindly informed that next year, if we'd like to make it a joint venture and invite some of our listeners, they would all be welcome, which Jeff basically did on our Edoru episode, but made it more official in person. So
more official in person with the visible assent of the other.
Yeah, with the other cast members around him.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I get it. You know, sometimes if I'm chatting with my friends, I get a little too enthusiastic and get out ahead of my shoes.
Yeah, it's.
Are they comfortable shoes?
Yeah, I try to only wear comfortable shoes.
I've worn lots of shoes.
Thanks, Forrest. It's our fourth mic. Hopefully he doesn't talk much this episode, but he's here. But yeah, so think about that if you're a high-tech, low-life fan about a year from now and you are able to get to Memphis. It was a fun time.
So what I'm hearing is that I'm going to Memphis at some point.
Yeah, it would be a fucking blast. Yeah.
And all you got to do is get to the airport. Everything else is pretty much provided after that, food and lodging and everything. So,
well, we'll see what income is like and what the mighty slippery when wet New Jersey schedule is looking like. America's longest running tribute to the music of Bon Jovi. Did you guys know that?
I did.
In fact, I did. And
good, because then that's enough Bon Jovi talk for this episode.
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's ever enough. This is the era.
Never enough is LA Guns.
We're talking about the era of Bon Jovi.
Well, that's true. I mean, this is the 40th anniversary of...
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No. Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
In some places, one and the same.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. They say, "Oh, my Richie," and I'm not even lying.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm not here to judge nor make fun of Bon Jovi fans because they keep me employed.
Yeah. Hey, look, man.
Plus, they're good people.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they are very enthusiastic about music that I am not a huge fan of. But hey, good for them.
I love fans of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the High Tech Low Life podcast.
You know, I'm a fan of High Tech Low Life and Creek of the Week and Johnny in a Minute. And you know what else I'm a fan of? The first two, and only the first two, Terminator movies.
Real quick, before we get too deep into Terminator talk, Josh, do you want to bring up the bad news that happened after our trip to Astronomicon, just because the patrons helped out, and I feel like it's nice to shout them out?
Yeah. We got back from our 4-day trip to Memphis, and we had a good time and all. And my car was parked out in front of Eric's house, and somebody slashed all 4 of my fucking tires.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was fucking crazy.
It was not cool.
Especially when you're getting back at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, not like it would be cool if we'd have got back at 2 p.m, but...
Yeah. Yeah, it was a world of not fucking cool. However, it has since been taken care of with the help of some of everybody's Patreon dollars, because it took $100 to get a fucking tow.
Yeah. So just letting everybody know, you chipped in on that really bad day. And it was, I mean, it's, you know, obviously doesn't solve the problem, but it's nice to have the assist.
Not that we're entirely sure what the problem was.
No, well.
But nobody died, so you got to say.
Yeah.
It was a good day.
We could get into the details of the situation. I don't think there's really a point in it, but it was very weird. And I think it was one of my neighbors, because I don't know who else it would be, just not liking him being parked in front of their house. which is an insane thing to do to somebody.
Eat a bowl of fuck.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, well, if I was parked in front of their house and they didn't like it, why would they slash all four of my
They
tires?
make it impossible to move.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird.
But anyway, thanks patrons.
Yeah,
Everything helps.
Yeah, it made a difference because, I mean, you know, I was on the hook for $500 for the fucking tires, and not having to pay the $100 to get it towed really helped a lot. I mean,
Word.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Before we dive into Terminator, do we have any recommendos? I actually don't, so I leave it to you guys.
Okay, I've got a quick one, which is kind of a mid-level recommendo, or a TV show on Netflix called Chaos, Kaos.
Okay.
It's all
Not
about
the group that Inspector Gadget fought.
Oh, it could
No,
be.
that's CAOS.
Oh, was it C? Okay, my bad.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's Roger Waters' radio.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yes,
about
you're
to
right.
yeah.
Radio Chaos.
KAOS Radio.
It is not a television adaptation of that album.
Too bad.
It is
That
about
would be great.
the Greek gods.
No. Tell us about just lie to us. Tell us it's a
We're
television
both on
adaptation of
board
the album.
for this new thing.
Kid in a wheelchair learns to blink, learns to actually become Skynet and blows up the fucking world.
Is that what that was? I cannot. It is. I'm sure been nearly 30 years since I listened to that record.
Well, you should remedy that.
Anyway, it's about the Greek gods in kind of modern world shit. It's got Jeff Goldblum as Zeus.
That's a good casting.
and Cliff Curtis, who I know we've talked about on previous episodes of this show. He's a Maori actor, and he's been in tons and tons of shit. He plays Poseidon.
Cool.
It's a fairly fun show. Kind of drops off a little bit in the back half, but I think the second season could bring it around. And it's by the same guy who created The End of the Fucking World.
Ooh.
Is that the one where those two kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
remember
I only
that
saw
game.
the first season. I still have to finish
Same.
that show.
Never-
That was a cool show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it, but I never got around to the second half either. Do you have anything to recommend, Sean?
I saw this pretty cool little action movie that I believe I heard Josh mention a couple of weeks ago called Boy Kills World.
Oh,
Yes.
You've seen it.
Did you mention that, Josh?
I have not. I might have mentioned it in terms of something that I saw a trailer for, because I do remember it, because it's got
I remember wanting to see it, and
it's got the
feel like-
crow in it.
Come on, it's Pennywise. It's Pennywise.
It's
And
brother
he's
of
really
Eric
good in
Northman.
it.
It's anything but the crow.
He's deaf and mute, and that's it. It's a very
son
unique.
of Baron Harkonnen. Sorry, I'm thinking
Yes,
more-
it is. Yes, it is. Oh, you mean Harkonnen? That
Harkonnen.
pisses me off. Anyway, A Boy Kills World. It's just a fun little. I mean, it's a revenge flick. You've seen it before, but this is making him deaf and mute. Kind of lends itself to some really cool humor,
And
it is funny. And it also has Charlton Copley.
am I misremembering that is John Benjamin his internal narrative?
Archer is
that's
his
right.
internal narrative.
I did
I
not see that.
prefer to think of him as Ben, Dr. Katz's son, but okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you better call Kenny Loggins because you're in the danger zone. Anyway, that's an Archer joke.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, every time I hear a lull from you guys, I know I have to explain my shitty joke that, my inner monologue is like, everybody's going to get this. Fuck, nobody got
No,
that.
I got it. I was just in the middle of stretching and inhaling at the time.
I didn't. I mean, I knew there was a reference, and my brain was clicking. My very old hard drive was.
Well, also in this film is Yayan, and I can't remember his last name, but he's Mad Dog in The Raid, which is my favorite action
Love
movie
The
of all
Raid.
time.
I just started watching that again the other night, and then I got really
So
depressed, and we
fucking good.
stopped because it's
It's
kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
it's a rough watch, and the second one's even darker.
Yeah, they're great movies. Though.
But oh my god, The Raid is my favorite action flick. and then I'd probably say then Die Hard and Lethal Weapon 2, and funny enough, the sequel to this. But also, then I'll get on with it. But Boy Meets World, I recommend. But also, Tree from Happy Death Day is in it too, and she's great. I liked her in the Happy Death Day movies,
seen it.
and I really liked her in Boy Kills World. So, Boy Kills World, that's my recommendo. I also saw Alien Romulus.
Oh, good.
No, I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying that I saw it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you see it, Josh?
I did not. I was going to, and then I had an unexpected $500 expense.
That'll do it.
I did, however, just brand new, saw on Netflix the other night a film that just came out called Rebel Ridge.
I've heard good things.
I've not heard anything.
It stars, I can't remember the guy's name. Aaron Pierce, something like that. And Don Johnson is the main villain.
Oh, yeah.
As a shitheel sheriff in Alabama or Louisiana. And it's basically, it basically turns into kind of a Rambo thing, but with civil forfeiture as its central plot point, where the main character goes into this town. He's going to bail his brother out of jail. He's been put up on like a minor possession charge, and the cops beat the shit out of him. Oh, it opens with "Number of the Beast" by Iron Maiden.
All right.
That's how you make an entrance.
Yeah, and the cops beat the shit out of him, take all of his money, and it basically ends up being an extremely violent, and the thing that was kind of interesting about it is the dude doesn't like shoot anybody at all. It's all beating the hell out of people.
I just saw a review because I was looking up something, and the first review on IMDb is Black Reacher.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It could easily be a Reacher book.
And you're telling me that Don Johnson plays a podunk sheriff? Mm-hmm. So he's just playing the same guy he did in Watchmen?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Okay.
I forgot he was in that.
He was really good in Watchmen.
It's pretty goddamn good. It's directed by a guy named Jeremy Saulnier, who also did Green Room, which I've recommended multiple times. Eric will never watch it.
I will never watch it, but I will always wonder how good it is.
I hear Stewart's amazing in it.
Yeah, it's very good.
I've been recommended by like a dozen people, and I'll never watch it just because it makes me sad.
Yeah, that's understandable. And also, he did a movie called Blue Ruin, which, if you follow Zodiac Motherfucker on the internet, is maybe his favorite movie.
And it's another. You probably should.
It's another grimy revenge, type thing. And then I have one final recommendation.
Damn.
Just came out very recently. And I don't know if either of you guys have heard this. It's a new song called Status Quo Radio.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Didn't we just talk about Radio Chaos like a minute ago?
That's true. We didn't even think to make the connection then.
Yeah, I did, but I knew I was going to save it for a recommendo.
That's Sean's song.
It is.
Yes.
When you do your last song, it'll be Sean's swan song.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to say for everybody.
It would have to be called Ron Sean Swan Song.
Oof.
This way, yeah. Oof. Actually, the biggest compliment I ever got paid about my music was from Gordon, who mixed it, the bass player from Money for the Toll and Gin Asylum. And he's like, he's been raving about it since that Live Volume 4 came out. And he's like, this is a great song, blah, 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 blah. And then I mentioned to him, like, it's just more like, this is 2013. I wrote this lyric. And like shit just got more fucked up since then.
Got more and more relevant as time went on.
Oh my God. It's my own amused to death, I guess, because it's just really relevant. But Gordon said, I thought this was a Roger Waters cover the first time I heard it. I'm like, well, I don't think I'll ever get a compliment as high as that. Now we're talking about Roger Waters, the songwriter. I won't get into any stuff because I don't talk about that shit.
I do, and
I know you're on his side.
I'm on his side.
I just don't talk about it. He's been talking about that for years and called a racist.
Yeah.
Systemic. Anyway,
he's had some problematic ways of expressing his opinion, which
well, that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's but there's also the ignorance of like, oh, look at the outfits he's wearing for In the Flesh. It's like, yeah, dude, he's playing a character. You stupid.
It's called
dildo.
satire. It's existed for a long time.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Well, but the people of the internet, like, first of all, you need them to spell your and loser correct first and maybe use some fucking punctuation. So for them to understand satire is too much. Now, I'm not talking about you guys or the good listeners of this show or the good folks who had bought Status Quo Radio. But when I got that compliment,
if you haven't bought it, that was it. On the fence.
That was it.
No, that's a good compliment.
That's a great compliment. Plus, Daniele did that intro for me in 2013 as well.
Oh, okay.
It's really a great song. Yeah. And lyrically, it is one of my faves that you've done for sure.
I have not been able to write a lyric like, I mean, I wrote Who Are You Anyway after that, but like that song has given me writer's block because I think it's the best thing I've ever written lyrically. Not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying.
You should pat yourself on the back.
That was just me being sick and tired of everybody on the internet like, oh, I'm going to type something that somebody else typed and make it seem like my own because I need attention. Or just, like I said, armchair politicians. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And the loudest voice is usually the most ignorant. And then the actionless activists. I'm against this. And I'm just going to keep typing about it and not doing anything about it. And just everything that pisses me off about social media. All right. A lot of things, not everything, but a lot of things that piss me off about social media are in that song.
And it's
watching WRSF radio.
Well, anyway, everybody go to Bandcamp, buy Sean's song and other songs if you haven't already.
Yes, buy it. Don't stream it.
Yeah, I wish this was coming out last week so you could get it on Bandcamp Friday, but still better than nothing if you missed out on Bandcamp Friday.
Well, buy it on a Bandcamp Friday so I get a higher percentage, or else just buy it. Everybody always gets Amazon gift cards, especially you scammer motherfuckers. Oh, do not redeem. Everybody needs the Amazon gift cards.
The phone call guys that call old people.
Oh, it's so good. But everybody, iTunes, anywhere that I'm going to get a higher cut, just look, I need income, folks.
You gotta. This is the time of smart consumerism. Like if you want to support somebody, you can't just like get it from the most easy place. Although let's be honest, Bandcamp has made it pretty easy,
incredibly fucking easy anymore. I mean, for me, it is just as easy as if I were, getting it off of Amazon or whatever.
If you're going to stream it, though, please don't stream it on Bandcamp. Please stream it on like Spotify or Amazon or something like that. Because Bandcamp, when you stream from there, there's just nothing for the artist at all. There's no charts or anything like that. And I'm not even talking about the 0.0001 cent for every 4,000 plays.
Right, because the numbers on Spotify and stuff
exactly, like that matters. The Apple Radio, or what's that called? Apple Music, Amazon Music, like that actually like generates more interest. Where a play on Bandcamp does nothing.
So what you should do is buy it on Bandcamp,
stream it elsewhere.
Go stream it on Tidal.
Yeah.
Definitely Tidal. They actually pay the most. Man, I sound like such a cheap son of a bitch, but let me just tell you.
No, dude, legit. I wish more artists would. Like, I like it when an artist does that because, and I listen, I pay attention because how else are we dumb consumers supposed to know how to help you guys? Well,
here's the thing, and I always tell people this, like, as a consumer, paying that monthly fee for any of the streaming sites you use so you don't have ads and you've got unlimited skipping, for a consumer, that's great. You've got almost every album ever recorded at your fingertips. As a consumer, it's great. As an artist, it sucks. As an artist, we get fucked. We get nothing unless, because of the way the algorithm works, unless you're Taylor Swift, unless you're David Gilmour releasing a new album. Oh my God, that's my other recommendo, by the way. David Gilmour's Luck and Strange. Go, Romany Gilmour's vocals. That's his daughter on the one song, fucking Champagne, Chef's Kiss. Anyway, so as a consumer, it's great. As an artist, it sucks.
All right. We have got to get into the movie, or else that guy on YouTube who is time stamping when our actual show begins, it's going to be really upset.
I do have one other very quick recommendo. If you're anywhere near Memphis, go to the Stax Records studio and museum. It's fucking great.
All right. Terminator. Dun 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 dun. We are watching it for the first time that we are going to record a podcast.
Can I be a musical
about
nerd about what you just did? So that's
Sure.
from the second one.
Yeah.
The first one is
It's not in the first one?
It's off. The beat is a bit off.
Oh, I didn't
And
notice
you
that.
still together with the modular synth. But yes, the score is just a sea hair different.
Yeah, the second one is simplified because the first one is stupid time signature. It's like fucking 13/16 or some nonsense. I mean, the time signature on the score on this one is crazy.
And it's just 6/8 for the second one.
Yeah.
While we are talking score, was I right that Brad Fiedel, who also did Johnny Mnemonic,
Yes,
did the
yes,
score
he
to this
did the
one?
first two, and he also did True Lies.
I'm sure we mentioned that on our exhaustive Johnny Mnemonic episodes.
Yes.
But it was nice to see a familiar name.
Yeah.
And it's a good score.
Yeah, it is. It turns out he's good at that.
Yeah.
He does an all right job, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say now, it's been a long time since I've seen Terminator 2. It's been a while since I've seen Terminator 2. I believe a few weeks back, I made the bold proclamation that this Terminator, the Terminator, is my favorite Terminator movie. And having just rewatched it, I'm sticking to my guns on that. It's been a while, but I think I like this one more.
I think that's fair. I mean, it's like, and I'm sure I do not remember you saying that, but I totally believe you did.
Yeah. There's something about this movie. From the first time I watched it, I remember being sucked into it, and I still get it.
It's the renegade filmmaking. It's that low budget, like, just you see every penny on that screen. I mean, the second one you do as well, but it's just like how like he would film certain scenes with no permits, and they would do in one take really quick just to get it done, and be like, "All right, guys, let's get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Well, I think the real thing that always comes to mind for me when talking about this movie and its immediate sequel is it's very similar to Alien and Aliens. Like, if somebody wants to stake out a position that either T1 or T2 or Alien or Aliens is their absolute favorite in that series, like, I can't argue with it. It's just they're different films, and they're like all four of them are doing like amazing shit. It just depends on, do you want kind of a grimy horror movie, which is what this movie is and what Alien is, or do you want like action, a much glossier type of movie, which is what Aliens and T2 are.
Would you say the same applies to Blade Runner and 2049, or?
Well, I'll stay out of this one.
I don't think it classes the same. Like, the movies are not dissimilar enough. Does that make sense?
No, they're very dissimilar, but I'll shut up.
Nah, I mean, I get what Josh is saying. Like,
just the overall tone.
Terminator and Terminator 2 are like, you could put them on different sections of the video rental store
easily.
That's a modern reference.
Yeah,
and it would make sense. And same with Alien and Aliens.
Well, it would make dollars.
I don't know. It depends on how far back we go. Remember 59-cent movie rentals?
It was like, oh my god, did you guys have those? I never had those.
Oh yeah, for the old library.
It'd be the older ones, yeah. Like the new ones were usually like $2. But anyway, great movie. Glad we're talking about it, and we're gonna try not to talk about Terminator 2 too much because we're gonna have to watch it at some other point.
Yeah, at least twice more.
At least twice more. Yes.
Once for the normal podcast and once for Judgment Day. Yeah. Dun 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 dun.
What's the difference? That's good. I thought I was there.
Yep.
Right? I do a very good voice synth.
Yeah. All right. How are we going to do this, Josh? Do you have a plan to go over it?
I've got the real basic plot outline and, some kind of trivia bullshit. I figure we'll kind of do it like normal.
Yeah. Should we mention that it's directed by James Cameron, which I think everybody should know?
Yeah, I think that seems like an important thing to have out of the way. He's never going to come up on this podcast again.
Nope. And never has in the past.
Nope, certainly not.
Definitely not on episode 2.
Yeah. I had, was that 3? Okay, yeah, you're right, because we did a 2-part Neuromancer.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie came to James Cameron in a dream.
Oh, really?
He had just been fired from his first directorial effort, Piranha 2, The Spawning, which shot in Rome, and he was waiting because he had no money, he had been fired, and was waiting for a paycheck to clear so he could fly back to the United States. He got very fucking sick in a boarding house in Rome, and in a fever dream, he hallucinated a chrome skeleton crawling out of a fire with a butcher knife in its hand directly towards him.
He's like, I gotta make a movie about this.
He's like, yeah, that's my shit right there.
It's my shit too.
Yeah. So after a series of things, he gets a $6.7 million budget and makes this movie. It came out right before, and I bring this up mostly because it's just interesting. It came out October 26, 1984, so like right before Halloween. And the box office for this film, like the box office weekend, is insane. It made about $4 million, like, I don't know, I think it was $4.3 million the first weekend. Number one. Number two at the box office made $4 million, just slightly less. And it is called Isles of Terror, I think.
What?
And it is a documentary about horror films.
It was number 2 at the box office?
And it was number 2 at the box office with Terminator. Like, the box office for this weekend is insane. Like, their shit, fucking Ghostbusters, which had come out like 4 months before, was not quite 10. I think it was like number 11 at the box office. There was just nothing in the back half of summer.
Is it Terror in the Isles?
Terror in the Isles. That's what it is.
AISLES.
Yes.
Wow. Never heard of this, although the
yeah,
hosts are people I've recognized.
Yeah, Donald Pleasance is in it, and
Nancy Allen.
Yeah, and then there are a couple other movies like in the rest of the top 10 that like I recognize the name of, but couldn't tell you anything about them.
Usually, like when we did like Escape from New York and stuff like that, where like all of its competitors are very memorable.
Yeah, and there's just fucking nothing. I mean, it was
hilarious.
Really impressive to read. Just like, oh, what was this up against? Because I was expecting like, you know, when you look at Blade Runner or something like that. Maybe not quite Blade Runner, but you know, there's usually a couple of good things that like make sense in terms of, oh yeah, that came out about that time. There's nothing.
And 4.3, I don't know how the inflation adjustment goes, but 4.3 million it's not like a gangbusters opening weekend, even if it's number 1, right? Or is it a lot?
Yeah,
at the time though, it was, I mean, it meant, you know,
at the time it was a very good opening weekend in October. I mean, you know, and went on to make 78 million. So was a raging success.
Can I real quick just tell how my first time watching this movie, just because it's hard for me to separate myself from it. When I was a kid, living in my new stepdad's trailer in Garden City, Kansas, I think it was the summertime, and he had a big VHS collection, and it was mostly 80s trash. And I saw this in there, and I was probably like 13 years old, 12, something like that, and put it in and watched it thinking, because I was just bored out of my friggin' mind in this town where I had no friends, and I assumed it was going to be a trash, cheesy movie, but was like instantly in love with this movie. And I don't know, that from that point forward, this movie's always been like one of my favorites, just because I was it passed the time that day in a way that I was not expecting. I was expecting this to just be background. Like, he had a lot of like, what's the
canon?
Is that a movie?
No, I meant canon films.
Oh yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, even those I would have enjoyed as a 13-year-old. I'm talking like Bonfire of the Vanities, and which might be good, but aren't good to a 13-year-old boy.
It's not. It's not. That's one of the classic huge debacles that is just fucked from like second one.
I think that's the first movie I ever walked out of the theater.
There was a Kurt Russell, like Blue Steel or something. A lot of cop movies because he was a cop. A lot of just bad cop dramas. Anyway, this movie was a surprise, and I felt like I discovered something as a 13-year-old, which I know it's a big movie, but not when you don't have internet and people to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, I also remember the first time I saw this movie. It was at Eric and I's high school friend Matt's house.
Mm-hmm.
It probably was 1988, I assume, probably. And his older brother, had rented it. And I remember very vividly the scene where Arnold cuts open his arm and then does the thing with his eye.
Yeah.
And it was a sunny afternoon and being like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Pretty cheesy looking at it now as adults.
Yeah,
but
it's still pretty
so
good.
freaking cool at the time. Sean, do you remember?
Yeah. I wasn't allowed to watch R-rated movies when I was a kid, so I had to wait for it to be on NBC, which was around 86.
Wow. How did this look on NBC?
That's how my wife watched it for the first time, too. She's a big Terminator fan.
You're terminated. Like,
Terminated father.
No. It wasn't like, yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Yeah.
It was more like they would just cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there wasn't like a lot of overdubbing. It's not like this is what happens when you meet a stranger, find a stranger in the Alps.
Yeah.
Which at least they all did themselves. I don't remember that one as well, and I'll be honest, much like Blade Runner, I did not care for this movie for quite a while. Actually, I've trust me, I've come around on it. But for a while, I was just like, I got it. But keep in mind that I also only seen it on NBC.
Yeah,
and I watched it a bunch. I taped it and I watched it a bunch of times, and I was just like, I don't get what the big deal is about. Let's go watch Conan. I was allowed to watch Conan though, which was weird because that's more of a hard R. This one just has the word fuck a lot and just like some boobage for half a second.
Yeah.
Conan has a lot of boobies from what I remember.
Actually, you know what? Now I think about it though, like I'm wrong because Conan, I also had to wait for TV, which definitely makes a lot of sense. So I was very surprised when I saw both of these movies in their true form some years later. And I mean, this movie at the time, I didn't really appreciate it for what it was, but becoming quite the cinephile, I celebrate a lot of how he got this shit done. These first two movies, like the shit that he had to do to get certain things done, is just brilliant.
It's the main thing. Like there are two major things. Actually, okay, I'm going to go back on that. Three major things about this movie that make it work and make it like a pretty immortal fucking film is number one, James, like, and you can't discount this, James Cameron is really good. Like, and
he has one subpar movie in his entire catalog, which is it's not a giant catalog, but he's only got one subpar movie. Everything else is great.
Piranha 2, The Spawning?
That doesn't count. But it is a sequel.
I wish he'd stop making cartoons.
Well, that's the sequel that I'm talking about. It's not very good.
And like the thing with those movies is that like they're very good, even if they are clearly not movies for me at all. Like they're beautiful examples of what he is trying to do.
No doubt.
He is very much, and even in the Terminator movies, he's very much trying to tell people, stop fucking with the planet. Stop fucking with each other. The Abyss does it very blatantly. Avatar does it very blatantly, and these two kind of do it.
Yeah. So number one, Jim Cameron, genius. Number one, Jim Cameron, genius. Number two, you can see every fucking cent of the $6.7 million on the screen.
Yeah.
Like, and that goes into how good he is because I'm not not going to look up the numbers for some of the other movies we've watched on this show that, even though they might be fun, like Nemesis or Split Second, like they might have cost almost this much money later.
I think Split Second cost more than this.
Yeah,
I remember.
There, and Split Second was fucking nearly 10 years down the line from this. So theoretically, the effects should have gotten cheaper, or less expensive. But James Cameron is really, really good at knowing what not to shoot, or what to shoot to make the effects look as effective as possible and hide all the wires, I guess.
Yeah, like I don't want to jump ahead too far, but the ending with the T800, 700, I can never remember.
T101 800 series.
Yeah, the metal robe, the metal skeleton. Like you can kind of tell there's just a guy wiggling it around out of frame, but you don't care.
Yeah.
Like it's too damn cool looking.
Yeah,
and there's no wires. It's Uncanny Valley, but in a good way.
Yeah. And then third is, it turns out that Arnold Schwarzenegger is like incredibly talented.
Yeah. And Linda Hamilton, like,
she definitely, I think she brings it a lot more in the second one. She's clearly very good in this, but, you watch the movie and you're like, who the fuck is that giant weird German guy?
Yeah. That guy is I've never seen a guy like
it's
that.
It's Conan.
Before.
Yeah.
It's Conan.
That's Mr. Universe. What's he doing in movies?
It's Hercules in New York.
Yes. Different voice though. Weird. So
how'd they do that?
Yeah. So the movie starts. Los Angeles 2029. And we see the thing that we have been chasing for 5 movies now, which is the Future War.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that the Future War looks cool. Skulls are getting crushed. There are fucking blue lights everywhere and lasers. I mean, and
we don't live in Future War.
Thank you, Sean.
That's a Halloween reference.
Yes. And we'll certainly talk about this more when we go through more of the Terminator films and, of course, Judgment Day. But
Judgment Day.
This is the thing, like, the weird thing about these movies is that the executives at whoever happens to be making them at the moment go, well, we should obviously make a Terminator sequel. We've got the rights. We need to put that out because it'll make a bunch of money. The first 2 made so much money, and we can make a successful
cultural touchstone.
Yeah. What do people want to see? And everybody goes, well, obviously the Future War. And the executives always go, well, what if we did a movie instead that like led up to a Future War movie? And then all of those movies fail. Yeah. It is truly mind-bending how they cannot nail that down.
The Future War movie itself sucked.
Yeah. It's, and it wasn't this Future War. It was Iraq Future War.
I feel like Arachnophobia. I feel like we could dedicate an entire episode to just trying to figure out what the hell went wrong with the Terminator franchise, but we definitely aren't there. We're in the golden years, so let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
Golden years.
Nope. Yes, absolutely. So, the machines rose from the ashes of the nuclear fire.
Wow, this is a fucking metal album already.
Their war
from the ashes.
Their war to exterminate mankind had raged for decades, but the final battle would not be fought in the future. It would be fought here, in our present, tonight.
Now, can I interject on that?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he shows up tonight, but there seems to be a full day that goes by.
Yeah, he was talking to the audience. He's like, in this movie theater, we're going to experience it tonight. I feel like that was a third wall breaking mechanism.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. And then the Brad Fiedel score kicks in, which is fucking incredible.
Fantastic beginning to end, man. What a great score this movie has.
Yeah. And then we get the actual credit sequence, which is a bunch of of those 80s computer font.
Yeah. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, there's no other way. I'm sure like fontophiles know
Yeah.
know how to describe it. I can't, but it's an 80s computer font. And then it is like weirdly, if you watch the credit sequence critically, it is weirdly, it's the only like cheap looking thing in the movie. It's totally effective. It's fine. But it could be the credit sequence out of any fucking Roger Corman film after 1980 or any canon films of the 1980s. It's just like text on a black screen. It's exactly the same credit sequence as Escape from New York. I mean,
he did cut his teeth with Roger Corman on Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like completely fine. But it is when you consider how big these movies become and how James Cameron becomes, it is weirdly cheap looking. But it is totally effective. I mean, you know, what are you going to do? It says Terminator. What the fuck?
When you're putting every dollar of 6.4 million on the screen, you gotta cut it somewhere. And I think I've never cared about opening credits.
Yeah, I mean, I can't picture anybody walking out there going, "That movie was good, but fuck that, man," because the opening credits just look fucking cheap.
Well,
fuck that movie.
And it does really help that, unlike at least a couple of shows that Eric and I watch, they do the credit sequence fucking early.
Yeah,
like it's 3 minutes into the movie. I mean, it's
not a Bond movie.
Yeah, it's some future war shit. Then the little speech thing. And then there's credits. It's not one of these, okay, we're 30 minutes in with a whole action sequence, dragging on.
Yeah.
So then we cut to LA, 1984, 1:52 a.m. And a sanitation worker sees some weird fucking lightning and runs away because Arnold Schwarzenegger has appeared nude.
Hey, can I retract that then? Because if it's 1:52 a.m., and it takes place over the course of a day, it does happen tonight. So I'm incorrect.
No, I'm assuming they sleep after they bone.
Yeah, they spend like, okay, so it's one day where Arnie is killing the other two Sarah Connors.
Okay,
okay. And our Sarah Connor is working in the diner. Then there's the night where they go to Tech Noir.
Yeah.
Run.
Okay.
Run.
Okay.
Then
they sleep in the drainage ditch.
They sleep in the drainage tunnel. Yeah. Then they go to the motel, and then the next night is when the climax happens.
Also happened in the hotel.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So anyway, then the movie, like, it goes from starting well, like nude Arnold, great, to just ascending amazingly, and we've got fucking Bill Paxton with blue Liberty spikes, a huge gap between his teeth, and a leather jacket.
We love a Paxton sighting.
We also have the guy from Body Parts.
Yeah.
And he's the alien bounty hunter on X-Files, but he's also the bad guy in Body Parts.
Yeah. And also Bill Paxton has a wicked fucking face tat of like tire marks.
Yeah.
And then Arnold beats up these punks and takes their clothes.
Rips out the guy's heart.
Does he? Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, if not, he punched through his chest.
Yeah, he punches through his chest.
Well, he's holding his heart, and he drops it.
Yeah. Anyway, then we get the immortal line, which we had last week on our show. Fuck you, asshole. And it's exactly like Free Jack. Delivered equally well in this movie and Free Jack.
Sure. God, that was weird.
Yeah, it was. It really was just strange. Like, that's the line you chose? Not "I'll be back"? Nothing? Okay.
Hasta la vista, baby. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then we cut away from the punks. And then we get a lightning thing in the alley, and Michael Biehn shows up.
Is it Biehn or Bean?
I don't know. I'd say Biehn.
I thought it was Bean.
Could be Bean. I'm not sure.
1 for Biehn, 2 for Bean.
All right, we'll go with Bean. Michael Biehn shows up in an alley, naked, again. He is witnessed by a drunk. He steals this drunk's pants. And then then there's a fun cop chase. We don't know who's a bad guy, except for the fact that Arnold kills the punks. And Michael Biehn just takes this guy's pants and doesn't kill
Yeah,
him.
it's pretty clear right away.
Yeah.
Plus, Arnold comes through and stands up looking like Arnold, and Michael Biehn goes travel through time and then starts puking and looking miserable.
So then there's a really fun cop chase where he ends up in a department store and gets dressed while evading the cops.
Yeah.
Like it's a really good scene that manages, like, it is very skilled setting.
Yeah, well, it shows how capable this guy is.
Yeah.
There are some long amounts of lore dump, but they're worked into smart places where lore would be dumped.
Mm-hmm.
Like him talking to the cops or him explaining what was happening to Sarah Connor, because there's no way you're going to get in a car with this guy if he doesn't give you some fucking reason to do it.
Yeah.
But like they do a really good job of showing, not telling, how badass Reese is.
This guy is clearly hyper capable, and also he is clearly avoiding the police as opposed to what many action stars would do.
Of the time, especially.
Which is, well, the cops are after me, and I guess I got to kill them. I can't help it. So he gets...
He doesn't want to kill humans. He likes humans.
Yeah.
Save that thought for later.
Yeah. He gets out of the store, gets a revolver and a shotgun from the cops without killing anybody.
Bad cops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cops are just absolutely fucking useless in this movie. So another way it's accurate.
Yeah.
There's some comic relief.
Yeah.
They are. There's some good comic relief.
And he goes off down the street and hits a phone booth, and our first of a number of phone book scenes.
Man, you remember how, like, you used to just be able to look up motherfuckers' addresses in a big book that was delivered to your house? How crazy was that?
It's pretty weird.
We just all accepted that as something that anybody could do at any given moment.
Yeah. And he runs his finger down the page, and we see the name Connor, Sarah J. Bup, 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 bup. And we cut to her, and she's driving her little Honda moped to work at a diner job in Guess jeans.
Yeah. About as 80s as a person has ever looked.
Yeah, it really is.
By the way, I gotta bring it up. I think the best ever couple's Halloween costume, it's coming up, is Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor. Get yourself a little pink tie-dye shirt and a purple members only jacket on some like Jordashes.
Yeah.
Kyle Reese, all he needs is a long coat and some scrubby pants, and that's good shit.
And then you come in her.
At the end of the night, if all parties are consenting, you can make yourself a little John Connor.
You're gonna fuck on every porch and go trick or treat when you fucking jit?
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy that type of role play scenario.
That could be weird.
You know.
It could be. I mean, it could be great.
Okay, so she's having a rough day at the diner. A kid's putting fucking ice cream in her pockets.
Well, I mean, it also establishes that she's not very good at her job.
Yeah, she's not a good waitress.
Yeah, she's not great at it.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, but we get to, like, you know, oh, she's just a normal, I think she's theoretically 18 or 19, something like that. Just a normal girl working a fucking diner job. And then Dick Miller shows up, one of the best character actors of all time. He runs a gun store. He will appear on this podcast again, if only when we do the Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight commentary track.
Yeah, and don't forget, at some point on Patreon, we will definitely do Gremlins 2, and he's in there.
Oh, yes, he absolutely is. Yeah,
well, he's great in both of those movies.
He's great in everything.
I still think we should. I think we can call Gremlins 2 cyberpunk. I mean, it's got an electricity gremlin.
It's got an electricity gremlin.
What's an AI but an electricity gremlin?
I agree.
No, same thing. It's exactly.
If only
the
they'd
same
given
thing.
one of them a cybernetic arm. That would have been tight. If I'd have been there at the writers' meeting with Jordan Peele.
It's in the movie.
Maybe one of them has a cybernetic arm.
God damn it. That fucking sketch, man.
Best of all time.
Yeah, it really is. We cut to this gun shop. Arnold's there. He's picking up all sorts of stuff, including an Uzi 9mm, which is, quote, ideal for home defense. And fucking Franchi Spas and all sorts of crazy bullshit. And Dick Miller's like, yeah, I fucking made my nut this week. I'm going to close early.
And don't forget, Arnold requests some type of plasma rifle.
Yes, a phase plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
And the guy's like,
Hey, just what you see here, pal.
And Dick Miller's like, I don't know, man, check clears, I'm fine. And then Arnold executes him. It's a bummer because it's always nice to see Dick Miller. But hey,
yeah. But
So
he's going to
anyway.
join Bill Paxton in the...
Oh, come on.
Well, I
man.
didn't mean in real life. I meant in the
No,
movie.
I
In
mean,
movie
you know,
heaven,
I
where
think-
of cool characters murdered by Arnold.
They're both in heaven too.
we do
I'm
not see Bill Paxton die.
True. He could have survived that hit, but I like to think he died because then he'd be killed by a Terminator and an alien and a Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Arnold gets a bunch of guns, and then we go to him doing a phone book scene, and Arnold doesn't know Sarah Connor's middle initial. So he goes to a Sarah Connor's house, murders her.
Brutal day to be a Sarah Connor.
Yeah, it's a rough day. There are 3 of them in L.A., and it's just bad times. So after this Sarah Connor murder, we go back to the diner, and it turns out that Ginger, who is Sarah Connor's best friend and roommate,
Awesome best friend and roommate.
who is fucking cool. Like she has a line delivery. Just she's showing Sarah the TV news report of another Sarah Connor dying, and she says, "You're dead, honey," and pops her gum.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is the most 80s thing possible.
I love her so much. She's always got her headphones on.
Yeah.
She's always dancing wherever she goes. She's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Her boyfriend's
Yeah.
pretty cool too, honestly.
He really is. So then we go through, and what you realize at this point, we also see you see stuff like Arnold Schwarzenegger stealing a car, and then 10 minutes later you'll see Kyle stealing a car. And the thing is, Kyle and Arnold are doing the exact same thing in the exact same sequence, but it is a million times harder for Kyle.
Yeah.
Arnold hops in a car, reaches the side of the steering column, dicks with it for half a minute and pulls it apart, and then he drives away. And Kyle's sitting there fucking wiggling wires and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
So it turns out if you're from the future, you have the same problems in the past.
Yeah. You're not as cool as a robot.
Why can't we all get along?
Not a robot. He specifically says later they're not robots.
No, they are cyborgs.
Yeah.
So Kyle steals this car and ends up taking is this where he ends up taking a nap by a construction site?
Pretty close to it, if not. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
and-
beginning scenes kind of move back and forth a lot.
And we get some more future war stuff, and it rules fucking hard. It's more tank treads crushing skulls.
Also, it's great that there's no T-800s walking around that becomes a staple of visions of the future war. There's always, because it looks cool, but that would obviously give away the big monster reveal at the end of this movie. So it's kind of cool just to see the other tech that they're fighting against.
The big giant tank tread things and the cool flying hunter killer things.
Yeah. And a lot of it you can tell is models, all of it. It's pretty clear, but it's just shot well, by a guy who turns out knows how to direct a movie.
Yeah. I mean, the guy knew where to spend his money, and his film. So yeah, that whole sequence fucking rules hard. And then we cut to the girls getting ready to go out for the night. It's very exciting. Oh no, Linda's date or Sarah's date can't make it, so I guess she'll just go out to dinner and maybe a movie or something.
I was never a girl in my early 20s, but I do remember when you're young and it's Friday night is what you're living for, and Sarah gets stood up for her date, but she's like, "Well, I'm not staying home. There's no, I can't play fucking World of Warcraft or watch cable, so I'm going to a movie."
Yeah.
She just goes to the most 80s. That's not to interrupt, or jump ahead, but Tech Noir is probably the most 80s scene in an 80s movie.
I love it.
It rules. And we'll get to it in a moment. We also find out that something that I realized that never came back in any of the movies or at the end of this one even. She owns an iguana named Pugsley.
Oh yeah, at least they don't kill it.
Yeah, I mean on the
He gets
upside,
away.
yeah, they don't kill it, but it would have been really great if Pugsley had been like on her shoulder in the Jeep.
Oh
at the
yeah,
end of the movie.
like the German Shepherd, and then like Pugsley on the dash, sunning himself. That would have been great.
would have ruled.
I guess that's just there to show. Look, she's quirky.
Yeah, she's a weird chick. She's
not
got
like
an
other
iguana.
Who her roommate fucking hates.
And so she heads out to go to dinner and a movie, and you see Kyle Reese watching her from the shadows. But then we go to the cops.
Kyle Reese, by the way, handsome as all get out.
Yeah, Michael Biehn was a handsome gentleman.
Yeah.
And then we go to another very handsome gentleman, Lance Henriksen.
But wait a minute. I don't know if I co-sign that.
Lance Henriksen is a cop, and he is investigating the Sarah Connor murders. Which, by the way, at this point, there has now been another second Sarah Connor murder. Mm-hmm. And one thing that he says in this scene when he's talking to his boss about how, like, I hate all this. I hate the fucking weird ones. What the fuck is this? He specifically says that a fucking pattern killer, which is funny to hear nowadays. And in retrospect, serial killer wasn't really in the lexicon until the late 80s.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was a thing, like in some literature, but not like that. It wasn't something that people normally said.
Interesting.
So it would have, pattern killer is an accurate.
I bet the true crime podcasts were weird back then.
Yeah, almost certainly, yeah. I mean,
Toucan Son of Sam.
I mean, number one, you had to get the tapes in the mail.
Yeah. I remember all the late night infomercials. 1-800, get the first 3 tapes free.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to chime in real quick here is the banter between these two cops is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like it does a lot of world building and like Sean said earlier, comic relief, and it feels real. Like
it really does. I made a specific note of that for a later scene. And
hopefully I'm not stepping on it, because the one I wanted to mention was, I think it's right here in the very beginning, when Lance Henriksen is like given the backstory, and then the other cop like shows him his glasses and says, "These work, you know." Like, I don't know. That just seems like something that a coworker would say to each other. Like, I can fucking read, bro. You don't have to.
Or the cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, that's later, right?
Yeah. It's just, it feels like people talking, but
no,
I
think the coffee is this scene, but yeah.
Okay. It still conveys to the audience what we need to know. It's great.
Yeah. It is honestly really good. And like I said, I've got a specific note about that in a later portion.
Cool.
Because that section of the movie does those interactions do a huge amount of the world building and making it feel like real. I mean, not real, but
yeah. Also, this police station, so fucking grimy and
1980s
feeling.
baby.
I love 80s movies for that reason.
Yeah,
between the synths and the grimy fucking backdrops, it's wonderful.
That's I don't remember if I mentioned on the podcast. Shortly before I went to Texas, I watched the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
Mm-hmm.
And man, 1980s police stations.
Yeah.
And especially the first one where the Detroit police station is directly contrasted with the clean, smooth, hard lines of the Beverly Hills station.
Yeah.
Is very solid. Okay, so Sarah's at this restaurant. She's eating dinner. She sees a report of a second Sarah Connor dying, and that police.
By the way, she ordered a whole ass fucking pizza for herself.
Yeah, she did. Good girl. She's not like regular girls.
She doesn't even get a box when she runs away. Like, I would wait a second.
It's sad.
Box
But remember,
vegetables.
that pizza probably cost $1.
Oh, that's true.
So she finds out another Sarah has been killed, and then takes off running just as she sees Kyle Reese creeping outside the fucking window of the restaurant. She's like, holy shit, I'm being followed, probably to be murdered like these other Sarah Connors.
Yeah.
And she goes into one of the coolest places ever, Club Tech Noir.
Iconic.
Yeah, which is terminology that James Cameron made up for this movie. And fair enough. It has a $4.50 cover charge, which seems weird to me.
Kind of high.
The 50 cents is just
either $4 or $5
right.
would have been okay. Like I would accept that, but $4.50.
As somebody who spends
weird.
a lot of time playing in clubs over the years and going to clubs over the years, or just buying tickets to go to concerts at clubs.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything that wasn't rounded to the dollar.
Yeah, you don't want people dealing with fucking change. That's slowing everything
especially when they're
down.
maybe when they're drinking. That's then you charge them on the way out.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work.
Yeah. Anyway, a $4.50 cover charge, which is crazy.
By the way, the two location references I would like to work into like future Shadowrun games. Definitely Tech Noir, but also I just love the Tiki Motel.
Oh, Tiki Motel is great. Also Jeff's Big Buns.
Jeff's Big Buns. All right.
Which is the diner she works at.
It's good too, yeah.
So she goes into this cool club because she wants to use the phone, and the door girl will not let her pass without the cover. Sadly, there is no Doberman or Rottweiler. If there had been, this movie might have turned out differently.
Yeah.
He would have been able to detect the Terminator.
He would have. That's what they're good at.
Yeah.
It can also detect if you're a cop or not.
Yes. So she goes and gets gets basically put on hold trying to call the cops. So
useless.
Yeah.
Useless at every turn.
Yeah. And then we go to Arnie at Sarah's apartment. Ginger's just bopping around, making a really elaborate sandwich with celery and peanut butter on it, and a giant glass of milk at fucking 1 a.m.
When she was going in there, I'm like, what is Ginger's post-coital snack? Oh, it's an enormous Dagwood sandwich the size of her head. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess there's leftover celery from earlier in the night.
Yeah.
Listen
to Sean's former podcasts.
It's gone.
Or just use the context clues.
Yeah.
Celery.
Yeah. Look it up and just look up John Holmes celery.
Arnie shows up. He kills Ginger and her boyfriend.
Can we just talk about how really good it feels after you eat celery? I'm sorry. For some reason, Eric's laugh just egged me on. I'm sorry.
God damn it.
But it does feel great. It feels really great.
I'm a child. I have the sense of humor of a child.
We're definitely the kids on the bus going poopy.
Anyway, Josh, back to your serious podcast voice.
My serious podcast voice. Okay, so Ginger and her boyfriend get killed. And just after they're dead, the phone rings. The answering machine picks it up, and Sarah gives her exact location.
God damn it, Sarah. You do that a couple times, and it's really annoying.
Yeah. She's like, hey, I am at Club Tech Noir, which is at like 114th and Pico, and it's like an orange door, and you have to go through, and there's like a girl at the counter, and it costs $4.50 to get in. Also, the phone number is
for some reason.
Also, the phone number is blah blah blah. I'll be sitting at a table right by this pole.
I'm wearing pink tie-dye, purple members only jacket, super feathered wolf cut.
Yeah. And the Terminator hears it. So then, after she's gotten hold of Ginger, or theoretically, she calls the cops. And the cops say, yeah, we'll be there in a few. Also, the black sergeant, or whatever he is, the black head detective guy,
Paul Winfield.
knows...
What's his name?
Tech Noir.
Oh, yeah, he knows
his name is Paul Winfield.
Yeah.
Is that the actor's name or the character?
That's the actor's name because he's also Captain Tyrell in the Wrath of Khan.
Traxler is his character name.
Yeah. So he knows this club, by the way. It's mentioned like, oh yeah, I know that. So apparently he is a club tech noir.
Yeah,
Reg.
he's
That's like Proctor knowing where the Blue Oyster is in the second Police Academy movie.
Yeah, I'm not going to get that.
Okay, well, it's a bar.
You can.
All right.
I actually did get that. You can tell by the way his glasses sit way down on the end of his nose that he loves the club scene.
And he loves yelling at his inferiors.
Yeah.
Was he also the sergeant in Last Action Hero?
No,
Okay.
that's oh god, it's the guy that yells, but he was also in Batteries Not Included, I think.
Yeah.
I know
not
who you're talking
important.
about. That guy's great.
Yeah.
Picture him.
Yeah. Okay. So then we cut to the club. And Sarah's sitting there having a drink, and Arnie walks the fuck in with a, I don't know. This scene is great. It's hard to explain just because how good it is. So Arnold walks in. He nearly misses seeing Sarah because she's like bent over picking up something off the floor, and also hiding because she has just noticed Kyle Reese, and he's the guy who was creeping on her outside the restaurant where she was having dinner.
Yeah, the tension is just like ratcheting up in this, and like it's you're right. It's done so well in the way like if he'd seen her the first time, he'd have blasted her, but no, he's got to miss her once and then double back and then see. It's
No, that's her roommate's boyfriend. Blasted. Oh, never mind.
He definitely did that.
Yeah.
Celery.
Then everything goes fucking slow motion. Kyle Reese sees the fucking Terminator, guns him the shit down.
Yeah.
And then like the whole club goes crazy. The Terminator gets back up, and you're like, oh shit, this isn't just a crazy guy. No. Because at this point, we have no idea that this is a giant, scary robot.
This is 1984. We don't have all the lore yet.
Yeah, we don't. And Kyle Reese runs over and grabs Sarah Connor and says, anyone?
Come with me if you want to live.
Yep.
How did I know? I know?
Yeah, so he says that, which is going to come back up in at least 5 more movies.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. And then we get the first flash of Terminator vision, because now we've learned he's some sort of terrifying monster, and we see the assembly code of an Apple IIe scrolling across red tinted shit.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah.
Did you Google it?
Yeah.
Or just know from your
time
with Apple IIes?
Nope. I had to Google that. And they're trying to escape. They get into the car that Kyle had stolen earlier, and as they're taking off, Arnie jumps onto the car. And they also shoot a cop car, or they shoot a car, and it blows up, and Arnold walks through the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where he loses his eyebrows, which makes him look very weird for the rest of the
Also,
movie.
a couple of lucky breaks inside Tech Noir, like Arnie shoots at Sarah, and a bystander takes the bullet.
Yeah,
like she barely makes it out of there.
If you like slow mo it, you can see that Kyle Reese's first shot is shooting the Terminator's arm, and because he is aiming with the laser sight at Sarah Connor's head,
mm-hmm.
and Kyle Reese's shot goes off and it hits him in the fucking arm, which causes his aim to go off.
Oh wow.
Which is the in-universe explanation as to why he missed that.
That's a level of detail you don't see in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Also, I thought when I was watching this, Josh is going to spend a lot of time talking about the cars.
Oh, the cars are great. Lots of garbage 1980s bullshit.
Just ginormous boats.
Just shit cars from a shitty decade and a half. Like,
God, that was intentional. Like, I don't know, just the lack of shine and polish makes this movie so much more.
Oh yeah,
real feeling.
It's honestly impressive. Like 4 different gremlins appear throughout the film. It's great.
AMC.
Yeah,
That sponsorship deal.
Yeah, love them gremlins. Well, yeah, actually, it might have been because then at the end, it's a Jeep, which was made by AMC at the time.
Oh yeah,
It could have been. Oh, yeah. All right. I was going to say it could have been a Pinto, but no, it'd make more sense to be a Gremlin.
it definitely. I was thinking Gremlin. Definitely wasn't a Pacer. That was my first
No.
vehicle I ever drove.
No, there were like 3 fucking Gremlins throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Because I note those very specifically
They're
because
so ugly
they're cool.
and cool. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Ugly is not an insult.
Yeah. So then Arnie jumps on the car while he's on fire and punches through the fucking windshield.
This is where you notice Arnie's face looks different.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And yeah, he's lost his eyebrows walking through fire,
Which makes him look creepier, yeah.
Yeah, it's like there are a couple of scenes, especially when he's cruising around looking for them in the parking garage later, where it's just bizarre. So they take off. There's a minor car chase. Arnold steals a cop car, and Sarah is clearly just as scared of Kyle as she is of the fucking Terminator.
That's good reason.
Yeah, with good reason. And this is the point at which he gives her the backstory, or a good portion of the backstory. Machine war. He lays out the whole plot like it's the first mention of Cyberdyne. Mm-hmm. She bites his hand really hard.
Terminators don't feel pain, but I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So he explains everything except for her part in the future. He's like, yeah, and then there was this resistance leader, John Connor. It's like John and
John Connor.
Yeah, and then like also in this, something I had totally fucking forgotten was that part of this explanation is a very explicit Holocaust reference. Like,
really,
they put us in camps.
Oh yeah,
look at this barcode on my fucking forearm.
Uh-huh.
We had to work dumping bodies into incinerators. I mean, it is very Holocaust coded.
God damn it. I don't think that's appropriate.
What?
To use the brain rot coded slang.
Oh, that comes from academia.
Okay. I mean,
originally, I guess it hadn't occurred to me, but yes.
The skibbity.
Sure. Yes.
Skibbity Holocaust. Rizzler.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Hey, you have to admit that Kyle Reese, he's got the Riz in this.
He does. Kyle Reese. The Kyle Riz.
Kyle Riz. Fuck off. Yeah. So they're hiding in this parking garage. They steal a very nice 1974 Cadillac Eldorado with blue hardtop. It's really cute.
Yeah.
And cops are chasing them. So there are cops searching around this parking garage, and also the Terminator in a cop car searching this parking garage. And then they get the car started. The Terminator spots them and shotguns the shit out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at this point, assume that the next 5 minutes of the movie is nothing but just shotguns going off.
Yeah.
There's another big car chase.
Just quickly to contrast this with last week's movie, which was also 90% car chases.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. I couldn't tell you off the rip what the difference is in them between Terminator's car chases and Free Jacks, but like maybe it's just investment in the characters that are in these cars.
Well,
good storytelling.
Number one, these are shorter.
They are shorter. There's a lot of them, but they are shorter.
There's a lot of them, but none of them do the 10-minute fucking bullshit that happens in the middle of Free Jack, or and the James Cameron is a pretty good visual storyteller.
Yeah, because car chases are meant to tell a story. I mean,
yeah. As opposed to just cargo fast zoom.
Yeah. Look at this motorcycle ram another car.
Yeah. So basically it works out where we're shotgunning, Terminator's chasing, more shotgunning. Then Terminator wrecks into a fucking wall because Kyle Reese had just shot it in the face with his own shotgun. Mm-hmm. And Kyle and Sarah Connor are okay. but the Terminator disappears when the cops come to get out of him.
So let's talk about this because
Okay.
I need to interject right here.
I think I know what you referred to, but go ahead.
He's the fucking Terminator.
Uh-huh.
His car crashed. It's not like he's knocked unconscious. The other car is stopped. The cops stopped the car, so they're blocked in. He can just get out of the car and fucking kill his target and succeed. But we need to have the movie go on no longer. I get it. The good people need to win. I get it. We don't want to watch the Terminator shoot up a bunch of cops. I get it. But the main problem is he's right there. They're right there. They're kind of stunned, and they had to put their gun down because there's a bunch of guns trained on them. The Terminator could have accomplished its mission.
See, I thought
Right
about
there.
this in this moment.
There's
too.
no need for it to run away. Why would it run away? Seriously.
I have
Why
a reason. I have an explanation.
What?
The Terminator is a machine with programming. My headcanon, I guess, is that it had sustained enough damage and had, like, there were a lot of cops there, and they're not indestructible. There was perhaps a situation where they could just keep a sustained fire enough on the Terminator so that Sarah could run away or something. I think he knew it was time to go repair the damage so that he could try another approach.
Your answer was very well thought out. It was very well explained.
Thank you.
Bullshit.
Oh, you motherfucker. I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew there was a
bullshit.
but.
Yeah, of course there's a but. It's Arnold's in the beginning
Yeah,
of the
it
movie.
is. And Michael Bean's.
Oh, Michael Bean's butt, yeah.
A lot of butts. Anyway, Josh, how do you feel about that?
Baby.
I feel fine about it. Also, the fact that that was a fresh vehicle for Arnold. He did not have his entire fucking arsenal of guns, and he had fired 9,000 shotgun blasts at that El Dorado. So you could also make the argument that he did not have a giant pile of weapons on him like he, does. So he very easily could have been shotgunned to hell by the 48 cops that show up.
I mean, he was fucked up. He slammed into that wall while he was hanging out the window.
Yeah, and then he does repair himself.
Yeah, he immediately goes to repair.
I get it. I mean, that's Jim Cameron's attention to detail because he probably filmed that scene and he's editing the movie going, well, fuck, I need to explain why he didn't just kill everybody.
Yeah. Plus, it's fucking awesome when they're with all the cops and they look over and he's gone.
Yeah, because you've never seen that in a movie up until that point.
Not once ever.
No.
Also, when you brought this up last night, I think it was last night, maybe the night before, Sean sent a message to Eric and I about how there's a major error at, I don't remember, 45 to 50 minutes into the movie. And so when I was rewatching the movie that evening, I was like, oh, okay, so here's this error that Sean's talking about. Never occurred to me that that was what you were talking about, the why didn't the Terminator kill him? I thought it was because the earlier in the scene, Arnold's cop car had the slogan "To care and protect" on the door, and in that scene, it had changed to, I don't remember. It wasn't serve and protect,
to punish and enslave.
Yeah, something like that. And I was like, okay, that's a minor continuity error. Who gives a shit?
Well, there's a couple of continuity errors in the movie that I just don't pay attention to. It's not like he's like...
I actually did think the exact same thing Sean thought on that scene.
And I was like, well, that seems like a weird thing for Sean to bring up. Oh, well, let's find out when we record. That's,
you know what? It's because of the continuity of what it said on the door of the cop car.
Yeah, exactly.
It just really took me out of the film.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't seem like, we'll find out.
It's another mark of a good filmmaker that they can create a plausible enough situation where the people want, like me, I want to reason my way out of it. 'Cause I don't want to be taken out of the movie, be like, he should have just killed him there. And then I can find excuses for why he would leave. Maybe not everyone can, which is fine.
It's not like Star Trek Generations where Soren blows up the moon, the Nexus comes and gets all of them, the Enterprise is destroyed, everybody's killed and sucked in the Nexus. Even though Picard goes and kills Soren inside the Nexus, he's inside the Nexus. Everything that happens after Soren wins. The bad guy wins in the movie and there's still 45 minutes left.
Exactly.
But that doesn't happen in this movie because you just explained your way out of it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I've not seen that Star Trek. I've not seen
think I
a Star
did.
Trek.
I think I did. I don't remember. Anyway, we cut to the police station. And hey, it's the fucking shrink.
Hey, it's the shrink guy.
The first of a lifetime career.
Yeah, I cannot remember his name off the top of my
Earl
head.
Bowen.
Earl
He was
Bowen,
also
yeah.
in Battle Beyond the Stars.
He is great. He plays Dr. Silberman. He will reappear on this podcast.
Definitely.
And he fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's great.
And he is just like another one of the things that this goes into how lived in this movie feels and how like worldly it feels. He is clearly just fucking exhausted because he's a shrink. He got called into a fucking police station at fucking 3 a.m. or something. And he doesn't want to be there, but he's like, man, this guy's fucking weird, right? He's just bullshitting with the cops. In fact, at one point, Lance Henriksen asks him, like, so what's the deal with this guy? Is he, is he crazy? Is he delusional? Talking about Kyle Reese. And Silberman says, in technical terminology, he's a loon.
There's another scene where he like asks a question and the cops laugh and he like gives an eyebrow up like, hey, you like what I did there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very hilarious. Like
also Lance Henriksen watching the shrink talk to him.
Yeah.
It's just fucking great.
Yeah, it's not like in a lot of movies, especially through the 80s and 90s, like if you had a scene where, okay, the shrink is coming in to talk to somebody in police headquarters, he would immediately be the target of mockery by the cops. But clearly this guy is here every other fucking day.
Yeah.
And he knows everybody. And he's like, yeah, this guy thinks he traveled through time because there's a fucking killer robot. I mean, it's a really well-constructed fantasy, but obviously a fucking fantasy. I mean, come on, man. And then we also get a scene where Lance Henriksen, and the sergeant are talking to Sarah. And Sarah... Yeah. And Sarah says, well, like, how could that guy do that stuff? How did he punch just straight through the windshield? That couldn't have happened. No normal person could have done that. And then this is my part about the cops feeling lived in. Henriksen said, it was probably on PCP. Broke every bone in his hand. Won't feel it for hours. One time, you see this scar and like starts pulling up his sleeve, and the cat and the Traxel like shoos him away.
We don't need to hear this fucking story again.
Like, your goddamn PCP story. Fuck off with that. And like, there is clearly a dozen conversations behind him just shoving Henriksen away.
You're so right. That's such a good example. That the glasses thing, the coffee. Yeah. These cops are. Like, you just believe that they're cops.
Yeah. And also it's like, okay, Lance Henriksen is kind of a guy at this point. He's not like super famous, but he's definitely a guy that the audience has seen in a bunch of movies. Like, this is what, 3 years after The Right Stuff?
3 years.
3 years after The Right Stuff. I mean, he's moderately famous. So you're thinking, and this is one of the interesting things about this film, like you're thinking, okay, so this movie is kind of a three-hander, really. We've got Sarah Connor, we've got the Terminator, and we've got the cops, right? And then also Kyle Reese is there, but he's mostly with Sarah. Yeah. So obviously these are all going to come together at the climax of the film, and then the Terminator will be knocked out. Whatever. And Lance Henriksen, being one of the cops, lends credence to that. Like, oh, okay, he's going to be, he's going to be the hero somehow. And then the Terminator shows up at the police station, fucking slaughters everybody, including Lance Henriksen, off screen.
Yeah. And Traxler, who, like,
they
spent a lot of time building these guys.
Well, all right, so there's also a thing, though. So the news says that there are 30 people, there are 30 cops in that police station. The second movie, and I'm not trying to go in the second movie, only 17 fatalities, which means 13 people survived. So maybe Lance Henriksen did live, and he just didn't want to do the second movie.
Well,
possible.
That's possible. Also, it's possible that he died, and this was actually a very clever thing on James Cameron's part, where you're building up this character for the first half of the film, because we're an hour and 10 maybe into an hour and 45-minute movie.
Yeah.
And you were thinking, okay, obviously Lance Henriksen will be there at the end and kill the Terminator, but he dies almost off screen. It's really incredible. It is a very good job of subverting expectations in the audience.
Well, what it also does is, we're in a time when the cops, for the most part, are, your safety net. So when Sarah's sleeping in the police station, you think, okay, she's finally safe.
Yeah.
And when she's with these guys, these two cops in particular are like, they're like the dad in a horror movie who you think are going to protect, and they just get instantly fucking annihilated. And
they are fucking wiped out.
And they've been the voices of reason. They've been our society. They've been the societal structure that keeps us safe. And then you realize nothing within our societal structure is going to keep us safe. These guys were just walked through like wet paper.
Yeah, this is assault on fucking precinct 13. Arnold goes fucking ACAB.
It's great. Like, and then they're gone from the movie. They're not even mentioned again, which you're right. It's not something you would really see today. And it's interesting.
Yeah, the cops disappear from the back third of this movie because they're dealing with the fact that like 17 or 30 dudes were slaughtered at a precinct.
Yeah.
I mean, like
bigger news than Sarah Connor's getting killed.
Yeah. So Reese breaks free. He and Sarah Connor fucking take off in a gremlin at this point. They run out of gas, hide in a fucking drainage tunnel, and Sarah treats Kyle's gunshot wound. Turns out she has a weak stomach. She's like, oh my God. Which is very funny when you consider the next movie.
But she's also got a natural knack for field dressing.
Yeah, she does. And Kyle talks some about John Connor. So we now know that she is the mother of John Connor, and she has an existential crisis. So I'm going to have a kid. I don't even have like a boyfriend. And Kyle relays a message to her from the future, which is like, dearest Sarah. It's like a fucking Civil War entry. It's really interesting that in this, it's not mom, it's Sarah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because I do remember, I remember very specifically Eddie Furlong referring to her a couple of times as Sarah, but it's mostly mom in T2, right?
Well, spoiler alert, he calls her mom the whole time. He just calls his step parents by their names.
Yeah, that's just continuity that was missed, because it would have been cool if he called her Sarah throughout T2.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, I'm sorry, but there's also a rift in their relationship because, he's raised the way he is.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys will get to that when you get to the next one. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah,
this is an Eddie Furlong free episode.
Neither of us have ever seen Terminator 2.
Definitely
not.
So
then we get another cool ass fucking future war flash forward. There's a fire in an empty TV set, and people hanging out in sewer tunnels. It's funny because
I fell for it. I thought I'm like, what the fuck? There's TV in the future? Because they're looking at it from behind and like lights flickering on their
flickering
face.
Light, yeah.
And it goes behind it and like, no, they're just keeping warm in a TV fire.
Now I need you to listen to me, because the story I'm about to tell you, you're gonna have to tell your children. That's the story of Captain. Never mind. It's Beyond Thunderdome.
Captain Ron.
Captain Walker.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I didn't know.
You know, the only Mad Max movie that's worthwhile.
Wow, you can fuck right off into the sun, Sean.
That is a bold statement to make on this podcast, Sean.
No shit.
I still haven't seen Furiosa yet.
Oh, it's good.
I heard you kind of liked it.
Okay, so we're in the future. In the future, Kyle is looking at this picture of Sarah Connor. He's like looking at it pervy like.
He likes it
weirdly.
a little too much, but
He's
this is
into
a
it.
world without
Yeah.
nudie magazines.
And then a Terminator infiltrates and kills everybody.
Yeah, I liked how this Terminator wasn't Arnie, like showing that they can have different skins. I don't know why they didn't do that in the future again.
That's something that's an error on the part of the future producers of these films.
Yeah,
for some reason
they had to look like Arnie. Like, doesn't even make sense as
no.
The
It
established
doesn't.
purpose of this was so they could infiltrate human. Like, they wouldn't all look like the same fucking guy.
Maybe he wasn't an 800 series.
True, but they kind of established the 800 series was the Infiltrator series. And I remember specifically
That's a good
from
point. Yeah,
future. There's like I don't remember which one it was. It's one of them in the future where they're in a manufacturing plant for T800s, and they're like there's like all these Army clones.
Yeah, that was the fourth.
That would be
maybe?
Salvation.
I don't
that would be
remember.
the shit.
Such a missed
probably the worst
opportunity.
one.
Like, you could have a bunch of cool muscly guys.
It's really interesting. One of the things about this series is that like either one or two, like I'm not going to argue if one or two is somebody's favorite movie of the series. Similarly, I am not going to argue if 3 through 6, which one is the worst with somebody.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. I actually really enjoyed the shit out of Genesis. I don't know if it's because it was just so funny.
I can't even remember. Like, I have seen all of these, and I cannot remember which one is which.
Genesis is the multiverse one.
Okay.
Well, not multiverse, but like the all the extra time travel.
Who was the star besides Arnie?
Yeah, how about that?
Oh God, the guy who has the best agent in Hollywood, Jai Courtney. Jai Courtney.
Yes, he is Australian. Okay.
And Amelia Clark.
Oh yeah, the
Just
Amelia
could
Clark
have said that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I wanted to throw some shade at Jai Courtney.
Fair. Amelia Clark was horrible in that movie. I hated every
really
second of that movie. I watched it in the theater. The only other one I liked a little bit was Terminator 3. Josh and I watched that in New Jersey, I think.
In fact, yes.
And
whereabouts?
Where were we? Do you remember?
I saw it in New Jersey.
I do not remember where. But yes, I remember watching it in New Jersey. We were staying in a cinder block motel in the Pine Barrens.
The tone of that third movie is completely off until the last 20 minutes.
It was, but I walked out like, I don't know, not expecting much and having pretty much my expectations met.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, oh, look, Arnold's got a minigun. Okay, that's crowd pleasing. I can't fault him for doing that.
Yeah, I was like, it's no
You
T2, but nobody really expected it to be, so
yeah,
it's fine. But then the ones that came after were just, whew.
Yeah.
I mean, Salvation is my least favorite by far.
That Christian Bale?
Yeah. And it's not even like his rant is
for you.
You.
Oh no, it's fucking distracting.
At least that came out of
it. That's the only good thing about that movie.
I still say, "Oh, good for you," frequently, just because it feels so good.
I don't know if I've said this on the podcast. I learned apparently the guy that Christian Bale is yelling at in that has a habit of doing that. Like he's a light. I can't remember the title, but he's like the head lighting guy.
Oh yeah.
And he is known for fucking around with the lights in the middle of takes and people yelling at him. He is a very good lighting guy, but
I think Christian Bale was pretty quickly vindicated.
Kind of blameless in that.
Yeah, like I think pretty quickly after that went viral, people were like, "Oh, come on, you're acting, you're trying to get into it. Yeah, it's a cheesy, dumb movie, but he's trying to do his best work, and he's got a guy fucking with him off screen. Of course, you're going to get annoyed."
Well, I mean, the biggest shame about that movie isn't even him. It's just that there's a good story happening, and then senseless action scene with new robots that we've never seen before, and then, all right, well, that was quick. All right, oh, okay, oh, we're back to the story. Senseless action bullshit. Fuck that movie.
We will cover
Fucking-
that movie one
Don't
day.
don't even waste your fucking time.
No, we have to. But
No, we have to. It's the law.
But
Then
I
eat a
have
ton of celery before you fuck it.
I have heard that Christian Bale did ruin that movie actually with his demands. But we'll get into that when Genesis Day comes.
All right. So one thing before we get to the assault on the police station, we cut while they're in the police station being interrogated, we cut to Arnie going into an apartment, which apparently he's been hanging out in. I don't know. There's a gun cleaning kit on a counter. And this is the scene where he does self-surgery.
Yeah.
Which is the point where you learn, oh yeah, he is in fact just a robot. He cuts open his fucking arm. It looks like Luke Skywalker's fucking cyber arm or cyber hand.
Yeah, it does.
And then we see one of the best bits of product placement of the 1980s, where he pries out his fake human-looking eyeball. You see the red Terminator eye, and he puts on a pair of gargoyle sunglasses.
Oh, yeah, baby. I had one when I was in high school.
Which I did not remember that the name of the glasses was so apparent until I saw it on screen.
Me
I was
either.
like, oh, shit, yeah. I remembered that they were gargoyles, but... and then I did a little research. Apparently, they still sell that exact same fucking model because of this movie.
They have to.
Yeah.
My pair of gargoyles are laying somewhere at the bottom of Canopolis Lake.
Yeah.
I know where they are. I just have to go get them.
Yeah. So, yeah, we see the self-surgery scene, which, like I said, is pretty well imprinted in my memory. And the landlord, ? Knocks on the door and yells, "You got a dead cat in there or something?" So apparently the Terminator is rotting.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing they never addressed in future movies, that there's a time limit on this cyborg skin, I guess.
Okay, so looking at the IMDb trivia, which is, as you know, the most reliable source for information on the internet.
Yeah.
Apparently in the novelization of Terminator, which I have not read, it is mentioned that one of the shots that Kyle Reese placed while they were in the car chase, the Terminator has a human heart in him that keeps the blood going to the cyborg portions.
Oh.
And that is why he starts rotting.
So the tissue is no longer being kept alive by the tissue support system. Interesting.
Yeah.
They get into it in future movies too, but spoilers.
Do they? I don't remember that.
They do, yeah.
And it's at this point we see a weird rubber Arnold Schwarzenegger head. It's upsetting looking. So he gets...
By the way, it's funny that they pointed out earlier in the movie that the first generation of these infiltrator robots was using a rubber suit.
We spotted them easily.
What do you think for I might cut this. What do you think for the theory that Terminator is a prequel to The Matrix, and that the future war happens and the AI eventually win and then imprisons everybody in human farms in The Matrix?
I've heard that, and it's a thing you can say. I mean,
people have.
It's not something you can disprove.
That's true.
Especially if you take I think it's the third Matrix movie into account, where Keanu is in a room with a guy in a fucking white suit that's like the embodiment of the AI, and he's like, "We run through 9 billion iterations of this, blah blah blah, and humans were always unhappy."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sure you can believe that the same way you can believe that Event Horizon is a Warhammer 40K prequel,
and you can believe that Blade Runner and Alien take place in the same world.
Yeah, they do.
They actually do. I think.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean,
it's fun.
Hey,
we're just having fun here, guys.
Together.
We're watching movies and making up lore. It's good times.
They also exist in the Star Wars universe because, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the side of one of the buildings the Millennium Falcon?
That's true.
All right, so there you go. So somebody dug up that artifact. I guess one of the replicants bought it back from a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Plus,
could
Luke
be.
took the Terminator hand and grafted it onto his own hand.
There you go.
Yeah.
See,
It's all
these
exactly
are
the same.
in universe.
If only Richard Belzer was in these films so we could tie
Oh,
in
fucking
Homicide.
A, man. Munch.
Yeah.
That would be. I love that Arrested Development is part of that universe.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, we got the future war thing. A different Terminator kills a bunch of people. That photograph of Sarah burns up in a fire, and then the Terminator is looking at Sarah's address book, which apparently he picked up at some point. I don't remember it specifically being picked up, but whatever.
Yeah, and when he was in her apartment, he was going through it, and he
Was
kind
he?
of tossed it aside as if it wasn't
Yeah.
important, but apparently
Yeah,
he
that's
pocketed
right.
it.
Yeah, he finds the address to her mother's place in Big Bear.
Big Bear.
He's iron tough, Big Bear. I think the same thing every time that I hear or read Big Bear.
You think this takes place in the Super Troopers universe?
Absolutely, 100%. Actually, 1,000%. So the next morning, Kyle and Sarah crawl out from the drainage tunnel beside some schnozberries,
Chicken fucker.
and check into the Tiki Motel with a kitchen. James Cameron's dog is there. Its name is Wolfie.
Oh, sweet.
Although
It's true. Yeah.
a German Shepherd named Wolfie will not actually appear named until the next film. Except it's not named Wolfie.
No.
I don't remember the name of the dog, but John Connor says Wolfie. Anyway, so they check into this motel with a kitchen, which is very exciting because Kyle is going to be cooking plastique, which is plastic explosives, and something I only refer to plastic explosives as plastique in my mind due to a combination of this movie and a little movie called Cadillac Man that I know Eric is familiar with, where
that's a deep cut.
Where Robin Williams is a used car dealer who fucks Tim Robbins' wife, and then Tim Robbins takes the car dealership hostage with an Uzi and a vest made of, quote, plastique from Jersey.
It's a fantastic
That's
movie.
what we're known for.
Yeah. Where'd you get the explosives? From Jersey.
Duh.
Plastique from Jersey.
Oh man, I love that movie.
I have not seen it in almost certainly since the turn of the 1990s.
Any 80s movie that takes place inside a car dealership, I'm on board for.
We should really watch fucking Used Cars at some point.
I know.
It has less than nothing to do with cyberpunk, but fuck, that movie's good.
We should just do the fucking Kurt
Russell.
My brain would not get off of Douglas.
Yeah.
Kirk Douglas. We should just do that podcast. Anyway.
Yeah. So they make a bunch of pipe bombs.
A bunch.
I think 7. Anyway, doesn't matter. So they do pipe bombs and fucking.
They make a John Connor.
Yeah. He says he fell in love with her photo, which is a little weird.
I mean, it is until you put in the post-apocalyptic future war bleakness and that picture that takes place in the daylight in a Jeep with a pretty girl with a cool headband.
Yeah.
I could see it. I can see it happening easily.
Oh, yeah. And while he's out at the store, Sarah calls her mom to tell her, like, okay, I'm at this tiki motel, blah, blah, blah. And Sarah's mom is like, oh, okay, honey. Well, I hope you're fine and whatever. And then we cut to a cabin in Big Bear where it's the Terminator, but talking with a lady voice.
Classic Terminator shenanigans. I would say she should know better, but this is the first movie, so
yeah,
she shouldn't.
Good point.
But
yeah, so
she really just spells it out for him.
Yeah, she loves to give full location, and so then they did the fucking. And then a dog outside the motel alerts them that Arnold Schwarzenegger is there because in the future they use dogs to detect the Terminators. Terminators don't smell right, I guess.
You know, real quick about the fuck scene. 80s were known for their gratuitous fuck scenes, but this is literally like the most plot important fuck scene that may exist in movies.
It absolutely is. And at the same point, it's very restrained for a fucking 1980s B movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't a ton of fucking, random tit shots and stuff like that. It's a really down to business,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting in terms of
I remember as a 13-year-old kid, I enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, it's hot, but it's not, it's not like most movies of the 1980s that have a fuck scene.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we steal a pickup. There's another car chase. Fucking Kyle's throwing pipe bombs. Kyle gets shot again. And the Terminator's on a motorcycle at this point. But Sarah manages to take him out while also simultaneously crashing the truck. The Terminator gets serious fucking road rash and then run over by a tanker truck.
I really like that truck they're driving.
Yeah, nice old C10.
Yeah.
Or actually, I think it's a K10 because it's 4-wheel drive. And Kyle's yelling at her like, go faster. And she's like, it's only got a 305. What do you want me to do?
This is the vehicle's top speed.
Yeah.
Also, like another good showing, not telling of how, I don't know, I guess how adaptable Sarah is, how capable she is. Like he says, switch, and they just kind of effortlessly switch places so he can throw bombs and she can drive.
Yeah.
Like Sarah may be kind of a fuck up in the beginning, but it's clear she's like kind of built for this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it turns out she's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I like the film speeding up every time a bomb goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just to show that he's driving faster than he really is.
Yeah. Yeah, so he launches a bunch of fucking pipe bombs. The Terminator gets knocked off his motorcycle and then run over by a fucking tanker truck. The tanker truck stops. The Terminator gets out, steals the tanker truck. And
another comic relief moment.
Yeah, get out. And takes the truck. He's chasing him. They're fucking running. And honestly, at this point, Sarah should be able to get away from him pretty easily because a big old semi on a city street does not turn fast.
Yeah, but they keep running down this fucking street for some reason.
Yeah, don't know why. Anyway, Kyle Reese throws one of the remaining pipe bombs into the truck. Tanker truck explodes, and the movie's over.
I like this scene because he sticks it in the truck, and then like he's hurt, but he dives into the trash can. I don't know. This whole scene is very exciting. Like it would be a great ending scene.
Yeah, again,
he protects himself though, and meanwhile, like this truck is still chasing her, and nobody's gonna outrun a truck. So he's like, "Oh yeah, we gotta save your life, but I'm gonna hide in this dumpster. But good luck.
Yeah.
Don't let the heat get you."
He kind of threw the dice on that one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the truck blows up, and I guess the movie's over. You see the Terminator fall out of the truck, and all his skin is burning off.
I will say
he's clearly dead.
As a 13-year-old kid watching this movie for the first time, I remember, there's no you don't hit pause and see how much is left in the movie. I'm not pulling the tape and seeing how much tape is left. I was buying it.
Yeah.
I bought each fake death as they happened.
It has a good false ending.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Or a couple of them, yeah. You see the clearly the Terminator's dead because all the flesh is burning off. It's a really good effect.
Yeah, he's not getting up from that, and she's relaxed, and the music is chilled, and
the lovers embrace.
Yeah,
and then the Terminator rises from the flames and flips over, and this is the point at which Cameron's dream occurs.
Yeah,
it's dragging itself out of the fire, and you see the fucking T800 or T101 800 series X endoskeleton in full, and you're like, well, shit, this movie fucking rules. I mean, even if it hadn't convinced me before, this is clearly the coolest thing I've ever seen.
everything about the design of the endoskeleton is fucking perfect.
Yeah, there's some like there's a couple of shots where you're like, the effect could have been, better here, but goddamn, it's good.
When
It's
they
good
do
for
the stop
fucking
motion stuff,
1985. Yeah.
when they do it in stop motion, it's so creepy. I've always found stop motion creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since I was younger, but it just makes it look otherworldly, and I don't know what to say. I love it.
So suddenly they're like, oh shit, we gotta go. We gotta go. This thing is still after us. And they run off into what is, I don't know where I got this impression. It is a cannery, or at least what I think is a cannery.
I know what it actually is. Well, I guess there are deleted scenes that say.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the Cyberdyne,
right?
Theoretically, he turned the deleted scenes into the second movie.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we
they
can talk
run
about them after.
Yeah, they run into a cannery or a factory of some sort. There's all sorts of industrial machines. Kyle is bleeding like hell because he got shot again.
He's struggling.
Yeah,
he almost asked her to leave him behind, but then she like puts on her drill sergeant voice and gets him moving again.
Yeah, he's flipping switches on to turn all the machines on, so that way the Terminator won't be able to hear him. And the fun thing is this factory has a shitload of robots in it, like, old 1980s manufacturing robots like you'd see in a car plant.
Mm-hmm. And do you see like Arnold walks in and like, not Arnold obviously, the skeleton walks in and like looks around and kind of gives like a, I don't know. I felt like it was acknowledging his grandparents.
Yeah.
Fellow robots.
Yeah.
How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. Been a while. Good to see you.
I haven't seen you since the family reunion.
Yeah. So they're sneaking around trying to avoid him. And he's stalking around. And this is the point at which I was like, I wrote in my notes, how are these effects so much better than the two other movies we've watched that do the exact same fucking thing, but later? Both Class of 1999 and Nemesis, just in terms of the, and I think it just comes down to a skill issue.
It's lighting, it's camera angle,
skill issue.
Definitely skill, or budget, or both.
A lot of the shots are just of the skeleton from like the chest up, and I could almost see that there was a man underneath, like moving this thing along, but I just didn't care. Like it didn't look cheesy. Your brain, especially after 40 years of technology, can see how they were doing it, but it's still, even after all this time, looks cool and authentic.
Yeah.
At no point, like you might be thinking, guys, that skeleton's walking kind of weird, but you're never like, well, that's clearly a guy in a suit, or that's clearly wires.
So Terminator chases him up some stairs. And this is the point at which I drop in a reference to the extremely funny Joe Quazala video that I posted last night on our chat.
I don't even. Must have missed.
You didn't watch? Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, "Wait, why? What kind of fan film bullshit is this?" And then, like, once it got to the meat, I was like, "This is great."
Yeah.
I had a very traumatic experience in Valheim last night, so I was pretty distracted after I watched this movie. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, there's a comedian named Joe Quazala. He just put out an album recently, a comedy album. He's also the host of the podcast "Who Cares About the Rock Hall?" All about the Rock and Roll Hall.
Oh yeah, I've listened to that before. I follow him on Twitter too.
Yeah, I recommend that podcast. But he had a Terminator video.
I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah, recommended. We'll hopefully remember to link that on our feeds.
Sure.
Anyway, Cal fights it with a pipe and gets the shit beat out of himself and sticks the last pipe bomb in his torso. Terminator blows the fuck up. Oh my god, movie over.
Definitely dead this time.
Sarah's leg got hurt with shrapnel, and Reese is dead. So, bummer. His eyes are open. You can tell he's dead.
No ending monologue. He's just fucking dead.
Yeah, he fucking died. So the movie's over. Oh shit! Even though the Terminator was blown in half, the torso and head are dragging themselves towards Sarah.
And she's injured, so she can't get up and run.
Yeah, she can't get up and run away. She's like on the fucking production line, climbs through this press thing. The Terminator's following, and she activates the press, this giant press thing, just as the Terminator is like reaching her face.
And then it's welcome to the hydraulic press channel.
Yeah, it really is.
Great YouTube recommend.
It's it's a classic, honestly. The thing about hydraulic presses is they always seem so gentle until you actually consider what they're doing. Like it's not like hitting something with a hammer where it's like bang really fast. It's just this slow. And if you didn't think about the fact that that's a solid steel ingot it is pressing
at 20,000 tons of force.
Yeah, they always seem so gentle. And that's
one thing's for sure, we're all going to be a lot thinner.
Yeah. She activates the press and says, "You're Terminator, motherfucker." And that's it. Movie over.
No. No. It's not about your joke. It's just that she doesn't say motherfucker. There's no.
She says fucker.
She says fucker because there's no mother yet, and it's symbolism because she doesn't know that she's going to be a mother yet, physically, only mentally. So she says fucker to him. Just go with it, bro. Just go with it.
All right, sure.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
You're Terminator, you cocksucker.
So then police sirens, there's an ambulance ride. And then we jump forward in time some amount. She is recording voice notes on a cassette recorder in an open-top Jeep at highway speeds.
Yeah, I mean, that sound must be incredible.
As you
Something
do.
You definitely do. You can definitely...
It sounds better than the mic from my webcam that I recorded.
Yeah.
You can definitely have a normal conversation in a Jeep with
Of course.
Yeah. So she's recording voice notes for future John, and she tells, like, I don't know if I should tell you about your father, and blah, blah, blah. Stops at a Mexican gas station. It's a Pemex station. They're Tecate Pinatas. You can tell it's Mexico. A kid takes a Polaroid of her. She buys it for $5.
$4.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He asked her for
he asked for $5, and
but
she says cuatro.
It's the hustle. Yeah.
And it's the future picture that burned up that we saw Kyle dragging around earlier.
This is the Sarah Connor I love in a Jeep.
Yeah.
In the American Southwest or Mexico North, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
And just living free with her kid.
And she drives off into a matte painting of the mountains.
Yeah.
She's running free, yeah.
And my closing thought on this is good movie.
Yeah. Good film.
You were talking about the Terminator coming at her from the truck. And I started thinking about the synth music there, and I made a really, really, really strange connection.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Because it's like that wah 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 wah, right? I wanna hold you like they do in Texas Hold'em. And it's
Lady Gaga?
Yeah, that would be correct.
This is the very last scene, because now I kind of want to go back and listen.
No, it's not the very last scene. It's it's kind of like that synth thing that bounces around before the main title, but it's also when he's chasing them.
Okay.
In the semi?
And also, it happens like 3 times in the movie, like credit intro, but we can't read his poker face
because he's wearing those gargoyles.
Yes.
By the way, the cover of this is Arnie in the gargoyles with the eye glowing through them. Fucking iconic, bro.
And with the long slide 45 with the laser sight.
Yeah.
Which there's one of the things that's the opposite about this from Pre-Jack is that if you look at the IMDb trivia, every fucking gun jerk off in the world has put his 2 cents into how the Terminator arms up. Apparently, that type of laser sight was like just in prototyping.
Oh, really?
At that point, and took a fucking battery pack the size of a TV remote that had to be tucked into the pocket of Arnold's jacket with a wire running up his sleeve.
We take laser pointers for granted now, but I bet that did really add to the coolness.
I don't even think we use them to kill people anymore. We just use them to play with cats.
Yeah. They're great for both. So, do we have any closing thoughts? Anything else about Terminator we need to get off our chest before we go into the rating portion?
This is a movie with one effective sequel. Good job.
I'm excited to do the sequel. I don't know when that will be. It's not going to be next week, but to see if maybe it's like Josh and William Gibson books. My favorite of the two is whichever one I've most recently watched, which is possible.
Yeah. And like I said, I think that would be totally fair. I mean,
I just don't think. I think if anybody is when the annals of history are being written, I don't think anybody should underestimate Terminator 1 as being every bit as good as Terminator 2.
Yeah, it's clearly a
lower
half
budget
a point.
Yeah, lower budget, simpler story, all that stuff, definitely. But
yeah, but the second one, I mean, in that one, he's because I just recently watched that, and then I watched the first one after you reached out to me the other day. That second movie is so goddamn impressive.
Yeah,
I mean, this one is too. But that second, I just also remember that time when like that was the most expensive movie ever made.
I know.
So he went from like shoestring budget and really knowing how to milk it to the most expensive movie ever made. And really, it's another one where you see every penny in every scene. And it's, it's when it comes to that movie, he's a cold heartbreaker fit to burn.
Yeah. Also,
not
to be reductive, but Linda Hamilton's shoulders in the second movie.
Oh my God, right?
The movie, literally.
Oh my God. Dude, I read something about her diet for that movie. Like she was going to these nutritionists and she had almost no carbs. It was like all protein and like a shit ton of working out. And then gun training. And like, she like studied so much shit before even going into the role. And then just the fact that she nails like every major scene, like when he walks out of the elevator and she just leans back in fear, like, man, does she fucking nail that or what? You guys haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry. I don't mean to spoil this movie for you, but I'll tell you, it's wonderful.
I think we can safely spoil Terminator 2. If anybody's listening to a cyberpunk podcast and hasn't seen Terminator 2, you got to be one of our Holdout Dawson's Creek listeners. There's no other explanation.
I don't know. I, for one, think Terminator 2 is a waste of ammo.
That's the You Could Be Mine video.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, let's rate this thing.
Let's rate Terminator. Sean, you might recall, we have a weird rating system that makes complete sense. It is 4 categories. We rate it 1 to 10, and then a catch-all category. We rate it 1 to 5. So the first category we're going to ask to rate it 1 to 10 on is the story of Terminator, as it is told in the first film. What do we think of it?
Are you asking me?
It's hard to leave out
yeah.
the lore because Terminator has become a thing. So try to just focus on this movie. Even doing that, I think that the story is very high.
I think it's these are 1 out of 10. So I'm going to go 7.5.
Really? That actually seems low.
It is a really well done, pretty simple horror movie. I mean, like the story is very cool, but I don't think that is the strength of the film. I think the real strength comes in the performances and what is actually on screen, I guess.
I can see that. Sean, do you have an opinion?
I mean, well, on Josh's score? No, he's that's his prerogative.
I'm talking about celery again.
My prerogative.
You're talking about celery? I love it. It feels great a couple hours later.
So what about the story of Terminator?
Just pound one out. So the story of Terminator, now I just completely got off track because my ADHD like really kicked in. For the world building, I'm giving it an 8. Like, and this is completely ignoring the other 17 movies.
Yeah,
I'm just going with this first movie. There's a shit ton of world building happening just within the first half hour.
I agree.
So I'm giving it an 8. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to give it an 8.5.
I'm going to agree with you. That was the number I came in on. I agree with everything you just said, and I would say that it's presented in such a way that and never at no point does it feel tedious, which is considering how much world building they did is impressive.
Hey, here's a fun thing I learned doing research for this. Apparently, there was a section in earlier versions of the script that explained all the time travel shit.
Oh, really?
And one of the, I think it was the DP, the director of photography, had a brother who works at Los Alamos in New Mexico, like as a theoretical physicist. And the brother, the DP went to a party with his brother and a bunch of physics friends and like started explaining this sci-fi shit, this time travel stuff. And the physicists were like, that is the dumbest shit I have ever heard. Like, stop being an idiot. And the DP relayed this to James Cameron, and James Cameron said, yeah, I guess we don't need to explain it at all. Who cares? It's just a time travel machine. I don't know. Metal can't go through it, or else it'll be like a microwave. I don't know. And that's how we got.
Well, the way they described it was so good because Kyle Reese was annoyed that he was having to describe it. He was telling to the cops.
He's like, I don't know. I'm not a fucking dude.
Yeah, he even said, I didn't even build it. I don't know. I didn't build the fucking thing.
It's perfect. Yeah. It's like a perfect way to explain something that doesn't matter. Influence. Do you think the Terminator had any influence on film?
Nah.
Oh, no, of course not.
No, we certainly haven't seen like 4 other movies that directly rip it off.
I'm just gonna. Well, no shit. Wasn't even. Yeah. Well, a lot of those are T2, but like the '90s are filled with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 10. There's no way. to say anything else.
Yeah. It's hard not to put it at 10.
Yeah. You know what? Then I'm gonna be the odd man out. I'm just kidding. No, it's also gonna be a 10.
Okay. Prescience.
It changed movies. It movies.
Did. Yeah. Prescience.
Look, it is 2024. I am not yet involved in a future war.
True. That was like mid Kyle Reese's term serving.
I see very few blue lights. And I've never yet fucking handled a phased plasma rifle in the 40 megawatt range.
No.
So I'm going to say prescience. I don't know. I got like, actually, let me think through this.
AI is advancing. It is getting better and better.
Not even that. It's not that our bodies are being killed by technology, but our brains are and our eyes are, because everybody's looking at a fucking screen every fucking radio. Second. Oh, yeah, there we go. You know, just listen to my song Status Quo Radio. It's all about how Skynet is going to fucking kill us. But it is. Our brain cells are lower. Like, we read something off
this
the fucking
causes
internet.
it. This causes it. Information overload.
But it's true. That, you know, like, oh, I just read this story about something, and it's the first thing I read, therefore I'm going to believe it. Even if you give me facts, no, you're wrong, because I'm going to believe what I want to believe. Oh, fucking A. You know,
I think that it gets a nod because I think AI is going to destroy society, just probably not with guns.
Social media destroyed society before AI even had a chance to. It's the social media experiment needs to end. I'm not pushing my song, but obviously I feel something about it. The social media experiment, it's still fucking computer driven. It's still Skynet. It's still an experiment on people and how stupid you can make them. And I think it's a great success if you're looking at it that way.
I love the memes though, baby.
Yeah, well, you know, that's cool. I like them too. Especially the ones that are really wrong that I won't even text to a friend because then they'll have proof that I sent something like that. But yeah, it's so prescience. I mean, it happened just in a different way. There was no nuclear war. There was just like, you know, brain meltdown.
I'm going to go 4.
I think I'm going to go 6 just because of everything I exploded about.
Josh?
I'm going to put it at 4.5. I was going back and forth, like how, I guess in my head of, okay, so this movie kind of wasn't prescient in that none of this shit has happened. On the other hand, how much of this shit didn't happen specifically because of this movie?
Ooh, good point. Yeah.
Like, you know,
the warnings were heeded.
Is this an example, or is this a counterexample of the Torment Nexus?
The Torment Nexus was not built.
Yeah.
Style. This is interesting because filmmaking style, you know, it's got it coming out. It doesn't have the same style that T2 did. Like the gargoyles are cool, but it doesn't have like the leather jacket and the Harley. And I think I'll just hit it right in the middle with a 5.
I'm gonna go 4 or 5 again.
Actually, I'm raising it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go
Ooh.
7 because it invented the endoskeleton, which is cool.
I guess
than most things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If we're gonna, no, I'm gonna stay at 4.5. The endoskeleton will go elsewhere.
Okay, you're not counting it as part of the style?
No, but I think it's fair to do so.
Okay.
Shawnee?
It's nothing that's never been done before in a Ray Harryhausen flick. It didn't bring anything new to the table.
It's
as far as
shiny
style
and
goes,
chrome.
but it has tech noir, which is
Tech
the most
noir.
80s club in an 80s movie.
It's got Linda Hamilton and Ginger's haircuts.
Yeah. I mean, it's just style. I love the 80s, but I mean, so filmmaking stylistically, it's, around a 2, but because of the endoskeleton and because of just how 80s some of these moments are, it's going to go up to a 4.
Okay. We are wildly varied on that one, but I'm standing by my 7. I love that.
That's what she said.
I love that fucking chrome skull.
Yeah, fair.
That's what she
lastly,
said.
1 to so I'm thinking of some jokes I could tell. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
1 to 5 hand raisers. How much do you like it? I liked it 5.
5. That's, I mean,
Sean,
this
did you
movie,
like it 5?
I did.
This movie is a classic example of all of the parts add up to way more than their sum.
Yes.
I mean,
very true.
it's
very true.
I could make an argument to have nearly all of the previous ratings be at like 2.5, but I would still put this movie at 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it comes together perfectly. You can't, I mean,
It's well executed.
I'm actually going to change my score to 4.5.
Bastard.
No, honestly, no, because don't get me wrong. I love it. It's just that
out.
I'm sorry. I just really love the second one so much more. And it's once again, like Josh said, it is definitely more than the sum of its parts. But there's something about it that doesn't deliver for me as much as the last one, Dark Fate. I'm totally kidding. No, I'm still going to go with 4.5 because it's fucking great. It's a really great movie. But even just thinking of Cameron outside of the Terminator universe, like he goes on to do so much bigger and better things. And this one, just 4.5. I don't have to fucking explain myself.
Sorry,
I
had a stroke when you said the syllable dark.
Oh, all right. You want me to go back and explain to you?
No, absolutely not.
So Linda Hamilton is getting messages saying where these Terminators are going to be so she can be there first to kill them.
Oh, my God. I'd forgotten that.
I can't believe I remembered that. And I'm so ashamed of myself that I'm going to go back to my original 5 rating.
Judgment Day is going to be hell.
Yes.
I don't know that James Cameron has done anything I've liked more than this movie.
True Lies.
I love True Lies, but
True Lies.
I don't know if
so
I like it
fun.
more than Terminator.
I think I really loved the shit out of True Lies, but on any given day, my mood could switch between Terminator, Aliens, and Terminator 2, like as being the top.
And I'm just gonna say it. We haven't mentioned it once. I fucking love Titanic. I'm sorry, but
dude, I'm with you.
I don't think I
I'm with
love
you
it as much
100%.
as Terminator Aliens, but I do love Titanic, and I don't care what people say.
How have we not mentioned Michael Bihn's phenomenal performance in The Abyss while we're talking about Cameron?
Yeah, The Abyss
so
is really
good in
good.
that.
Haven't seen that in fucking 25 years.
Well, that's because it hasn't been available in some format to watch it on.
All right,
we got to get out.
Make
here.
your final point, but I gotta end it because I really quick. I wanted to, we've got to announce what we're doing next week, and B, I wanted to say we've been getting actually a lot of engagement recently.
Oh
via email, YouTube, Patreon messages, and we obviously don't have time to read them right now. Maybe one day we'll dedicate an episode to it or something and stick it in midweek or something.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. But keep them coming. We like it. I try to respond to them when I can. I love getting recommendations from people for things we should cover because we've got our list. It's not exhaustive. And oftentimes it'll be forefront in our mind when we're deciding what to do, and we'll just do it right out of the gate, as with Free Jack. And I also want to point out to the guy who recommended Free Jack, I don't have his name right in front of me. He wrote us back and apologized. Never apologize. We've got to cover bad movies.
It's fair. Yeah.
We got to cover bad movies. Some people love the bad movie episodes, and don't ever apologize, because
I mean, look, I'm angry that I watched it. I'm angry that you suggested it. I'm angry at myself for putting up with this shit and not just quitting. But keep doing what you're doing, man.
But like after Josh and I recorded, when we were at Astronomicon, we got in like several different conversations with different people about the movie Free Jack randomly. Like obviously people care about the movie. So
yeah, they're wrong. They shouldn't.
Anyway, keep it coming. Hit us on any of the social media. You can find them all on our Linktree/HighTechLowLife. Now, wait, before Sean plugs his, let's also mention that next week we're going to be doing a new film. Not new, a different film. What's it called, Josh?
A Scanner Darkly.
Who directs it? Is it
Richard Linklater?
I think it's Linklater.
That's what my brain was saying, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong.
Yeah, it's a rotoscoped film starring Keanu, beloved of our podcast, Robert Downey Jr., Alex Jones. It's making frogs gay. I don't know.
It's very loosely cyberpunk, but we're counting it. It's on most of the cyberpunk lists.
It's based on a Philip K. Dick novel.
Yeah.
What did he write?
I don't know. I never heard anything else he wrote.
Philip K. Dick. Oh, try Ubik. It's good for you.
Jesus Christ. Ubik is what you're bringing up?
Yeah.
Look for that next week. And now we can get to the whole reason we're doing this show. Sean, you got anything to promote?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, Status Quo Radio.
Hey, that's a good thing to promote.
I mean, if you're getting your news from your Uncle Milt posting fucking bullshit on a Facebook feed, this song is not for you. But if you're a free thinker,
is for you. Actually, maybe you should. Listen to it.
Because how can it not pain you? So, God damn it. There's other things out there. There's a life out there that isn't just limited to one fucking genre of one fucking thing that you're fucking. It's the angriest, most mellow song I've ever written.
Sean music plug.
Sean going on a run.
I've never done that on this show before, but it's amazing how mellow the song is, but just how fucking angry it is.
Yeah,
and how angry it makes me to think about the fact that I wrote it before the world started going even bigger shit. Yeah, 2013.
We were so young.
It's
so young.
It's relevant. It's a very good song. And
thank you.
Get it on Bandcamp and then stream it somewhere else on multiple devices at once.
Buy it. Tell your friends to buy it. Speaking of buying music, I love Cats. You guys love Cats, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not talking about the musical or the movie with Taylor Swift and Judi Dench's Watch. No.
You're talking about Jonathan Katz. Dr. Katz therapist.
No, I am not speaking of Dr. Katz therapist either, but I loved that show. I'm speaking about meow, 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 meows.
Oh, you're back to Super Troopers.
Yes.
Chicken fucker. Buy my song Gin Asylum. I need 1 million sales, and I'm going to use that money after all the payouts to help cats. Done.
Great.
Gin Asylum and
Status Quo Radio.
Status Quo Radio, which is a great fucking title.
Thank you.
And buy some of the others too.
Status Quo Radio Chaos.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I think we're...
All right, hit us up. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/hightechlowlife. We have a Twitter, Johnny 60 Seconds. We have Bluesky, which is the more fun one, High Tech Low Life. And until next time, Josh.
That son of a bitch took my pants. Fuck Bye. You, asshole. Bye.
That was not the quote.
This has been the High Tech Low Life podcast. Find us on Twitter at Johnny60 Seconds, email us at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com, and find us on Patreon at patreon.com/hightechlowlife. Theme music by Nihilor at nihilor.com. Thank you for listening.
get moving. Come on, what are you waiting on? Let's
They're trashing our rights, man! They're trashing the fluid data! They're trashing! Hide the planet! Hide the planet!
Shut up and get in the car.
Da Toyminator.